40.
All right, I got 901. You're not here, raise your hand. Was it bad?
Yeah.
Okay.
Coming
I'm
down
sure we'll have a
the
couple
night before.
started.
Yeah.
How is everybody?
Good. How are you?
Good. You have a good fourth?
Yeah.
What'd you do?
I did, I had celebrated 3 days of it.
Oh my gosh.
Through. We went to a concert on Friday night with Elvis.
Oh, okay.
He did our wedding too a year ago. So
Welcome.
we know this guy, but he had 1,000 people out at Lake Waconia.
Okay.
It was quite the show.
All right.
And then Saturday the 4th, some yard work, and then we were out at Lake Marion with our friends who have a place out there.
Yeah.
Boat rides out on the lake and something too. It kind of all blends together.
Yeah. Hey, how about you, CC?
I went to a cabin.
Okay.
My husband's family's cabin. They actually just sold it, so it's like the last hurrah.
Where's that at?
Wascott, Wisconsin.
Okay.
Yeah. Kind of middle of nowhere.
Weather behaved for you?
Yeah, it's really nice.
Good. How are you, Nico?
On Friday, there was a couple in my new neighborhood that had invited 60 couples
Oh, wow.
for a gathering, so we had a good time. 60
Yeah.
couples.
Maybe a little
Not all-
networking went on there?
Oh, yeah, always. That's how I got so many of my real estate conversations. And then Saturday went to my niece's, so got to see some family there.
And I don't officially know you.
I'm Kathy.
Kathy and Brian.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you too. What'd you do for the fourth?
I went hiking in
Okay.
Afton
Oh, nice.
and then went into Stillwater and during dinner and yeah,
Very
it was fun.
I do not know you either.
I'm Jason England. I'm not officially an agent yet. Hopefully the next day or two, all my
Okay.
credentials will arrive. But I didn't really get to do much. We attempted to go out to Sovereign Estate, but
Okay.
we kind of got rained out, so we headed back and just hung out at some bar and drank a little bit, waited for the rain to pass, and
Okay.
yeah, I think fun. But I did go to a family reunion of my girlfriend, and it was huge. It was at Clam Lake in Wisconsin,
Okay.
and did some wave running on a modified wave runner, and did about 70 on the lake there. It
Get
was
your heart pumping, huh?
yeah, I was gonna go that fast. He didn't warn me that it was modified. But yeah.
Thank you, Erica. What'd you do?
For the 4th, we were gonna go to the parade in Excelsior, but my cousin's kids were kind of out of sorts. So she was like, I'm not, no. So we skipped that, and then we went to fireworks in Delano,
Okay.
which was, by the way, amazing. Totally worth the 1.5 miles we had to park away and then walk there and then walk back. Totally, entirely worth it. Normally we don't let our kids stay up that late, but you know, once a year.
Hey, Greg. How are you? Well, for those of you who do not know me, I'm Brian Offerdahl. Introduce myself, and then I really want to get to know the audience a little bit. We have plenty of time today, I believe. I've never taught this class before, but they allotted for 3 hours. So based off the stuff that I reviewed from an agenda standpoint, I think we have plenty of time. Also, I'm thinking that we'll probably take a break about every hour. Maybe just take a 10-minute bio break, or if you need to make a quick call or reply to a text or what have you, you can do that. So, but this class is obviously a follow-up to Rob's class from last week. You guys have that, and obviously the premise of that class was to start making contacts and so forth. And then this is basically how to do the follow-up and basically build out a follow-up program, essentially, for lack of a better term, on your CRM. This class is basically designed to replace Ignite. Had anybody in here been through Ignite before? Yes. Okay. How long ago was that?
A couple years ago.
Yeah. I was actually in Ignite almost 7 years ago now. And that was in the Uptown office. And I remember sitting in that class. I'm just like, gosh, This is a lot. It was like drinking from a fire hose, but it was like very, very helpful. It was like real world activities versus, you go through for new agents, especially like Jason, you're going through these tests and all that studying and stuff, which majority of that you're not using and it's not really helping you do your business or build your business. So like I said, this is very practical stuff that if you implement it, it will ultimately help you drive your business. And so I think this is great. I never thought I would be up here teaching this class, it's kind of fun. I've actually come from a sales background. So to kind of get into me a little bit, I was in the mattress business for about 20 years. Right out of college, I started selling furniture at Slumberland. And then I ended up getting a sales rep job for Sealy Mattress Company. And then was with them for about 4 years and then got on board with Serta. And I was with them for about 14 years. And finally, I was just kind of traveling all over the country and got sick of it. I had a 3-year-old son at the time. I'm like, I need to be home. And so my business partner, Nikolai, had been in real estate for about 1.5 years at that point, and was just like, hey, you should come do this with me. You would crush it as well. And so I cut the ties and I joined the Michael Kaslow team in Uptown at that time. Him and I were on that team for about 1 year, and then which was great. I learned so much. I'll talk a little bit more about that as we go through this process. But after about 1 year, we were both doing so well, and we were like, you know what, we should just cut ties there and start our own team. So essentially right before COVID, perfect timing, we pulled away and we hired someone to help us with our branding and color schemes and all that stuff. And we created the home group, and the rest is history. We've kind of slowly added some agents as time has gone on. It's been really fun and I absolutely love it. But I think, the biggest thing that I've learned over this last 7 years is as I got into this, I didn't come in it from the mind frame of, hey, I'm a business owner. And that's the one thing that I think is really starting to show more these past couple of years and resonate with me. And it's just like, if I'm truly going to treat this like a business, what are the activities and the things I'm going to need to do to take it to that next level, if you will? Because, it's pretty easy for someone just to get licensed, realistically, and even to sell a few houses. But again, in order to build a sustainable business, there's a lot more to it, especially depending on what your goals are. So I think that's kind of how I want to have that mind frame as we go through this today. And I'll just kind of talk about some of the things from a mindset standpoint to maybe help you overcome some of those fears and anxieties that come with the generation. Because this is like the biggest part of our job, but it's one of the hardest parts of our job. And it's one of the easiest to kind of put to the wayside, especially if you're getting busy with a couple transactions. One of the easiest things to cut out real quick is, I just won't lead gen today. I'll just do this activity instead. So time is very, very important, as you're going to find out, because we all have a limited amount of time. And it can be your best friend or it can be your worst enemy, depending on how you use it. And so that's one of the things that the efficiencies that we're going to talk about today will really help you gain those efficiencies in terms of those touches with your clients to have that follow-up and not allow things to fall through the cracks. So, but before I get into this a little bit more, I do really like to know my audience and kind of what backgrounds they come from, how long they've been in the business, kind of what your aspirations are in terms of volume or, what you want out of this, just so I can maybe cater to that a little bit. So if we could just take the next, 15 minutes and go around the room. We'll start with you, Nico. Nico's on the ALC with me. If you haven't met her, she's a great lady. But just tell me a little bit more about your background. Do you come from a sales background? How long have you been in the business? Yeah. How long have you been in the business? Kind of what are your aspirations being a realtor?
So I have been licensed since 2019. Prior to that, I worked at Centerpoint Energy as a manager for the batch department. So probably 20 plus years of and so to be an individual contributor, which is what I am, being a realtor has been awesome. But sometimes I miss having those other people, we'll say, close to me. I am very much a servant. I have a servant heart, volunteer quite a bit. So coming into real estate in 2019, that was like the first thing. That was really my first priority was what could I volunteer for?
Yeah.
And so in the last year and a half, 2 years, then I kind of shifted things and said, okay, now for this year that I was going to focus more on the business side, which is challenging to consider yourself being a business owner. And so I did submit my name for the ALC. I thought that would be a great opportunity. So that satisfies some of my servant volunteerism, which is great. What were the other questions?
I mean, what are your expectations? You have like some dollar goal.
Yeah, so
aspirations.
last year was my best year. And my best year was having 12 transactions, and I did, I think, a little over 4 million in sales. And so this year, my goal was to double it. Double it, I said, to be at 25 transactions, but I didn't really think about what the average price would be.
Yeah.
And so through June, and my GCI goal was 200,000 for this year. And so through June, I've already exceeded my year-to-date goal.
Okay.
So I'm already more than halfway there for my year-to-date. And so then I'm looking at the number of transactions going, this is way under my 25 goal, but I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Just based on the volume that I've had. And in the last week, I have signed 3 people under contract. So we'll say it's because of Breakthrough 120.
I like it.
So keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah. Awesome.
My name is Kathy Pernovic. I'm a broker actually at a little boutique brokerage, Brady Realty Group. I've always been with an independent, been licensed since 2015. Prior to that, I've had a whole bunch of different sales roles. Started my career out of college selling newspaper advertising in South Florida, and then led a team of 13 under advertising. Did that for about 10 years, and then sold insurance for a while, raised the kids, all of that kind of good stuff. And then got my license. I've always loved working with people, get motivated by being with people and helping them. I feel like it's definitely the type of career where you can really make a difference and help people. And it's a lot of fun too.
Yeah.
So, and it's something different all the time, which keeps the mind going and keeps you
Right,
stimulated.
it's the spice of fun.
Exactly. It's not the same thing. So, but I've had, I've done well over the last 10 years. And my income has always kind of been retirement, kids, college, fun stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm looking to double that and ramp it up to be more of a run it more like a business and with more intention.
That's kind of what your goal is to get out of this class.
Yeah. More
Yeah.
intention and structure. Yeah.
Great. Well, that's what this is designed for.
I started in real estate doing marketing and operations. Kind of fell into it. Got licensed just so I could do more and be more compliant while doing all of that stuff. And then joined a different team at Remax, and then came back over here, and I've been full-time solo for a year.
And how about before that even?
Before that, I was a recruiter,
Okay.
and then I also did marketing for a wealth management firm.
Okay. Nice. What are your aspirations now being a solo agent?
This year, I'd set a goal to do 1 transaction a month.
Okay.
So I wanted to hit 12. The dollar amount I tied to that was 125.
Okay.
So I'm on track by the end of the month to hit about 6 transactions, so just a little bit behind that, but we'll hopefully ramp it up.
Yeah. Easily achieved. So this class will get you there.
Hopefully.
Here.
I've been licensed for just over 2 years now.
Yeah.
Before that, I was a strength and conditioning coach for almost 6 years. I decided to make the switch just because there wasn't a lot of growth opportunity there. I thought about wanting to use my degree still, getting into something like medical sales, but both my parents are licensed as well. So they told me, well, if you're gonna get into sales, you might as well get into real estate. So that's what led me to this. In terms of aspirations, my GCI goal this year was based around, like, my wife and I did a whole life budget for the year. So my goal was to kind of cover all of that cost.
Yeah.
So then anything that she makes is just kind of gravy on top of that. So we'll see if we can get there by the end of the year. And then ultimately, my goal is to get my business to the point where she can make the choice if she wants to continue to work or not. So yeah.
Nice.
Like it.
Okay, so I'm Randy Walker, and I've been licensed a long time. I first started out in 1990 with Burnett Realty.
Yeah.
And with them for 7 years, and then it was Coldwell Banker out in Burnsville, Coldwell Banker nationwide. Shortly thereafter, Burnett Realty was sold to Coldwell Banker, and I knew they'd be at our office again. And by golly, they were. And okay, Randy, you're back to being us again. And I said, I don't think so. I went over to my friend at Remax and joined them for 14 years.
Yeah.
And then that franchise closed, and I went to Remax Advantage Plus for a number of years out of Eagan, and came over here and joined up. So I've been in for over 30 years. And I was a financial advisor prior to that, and still am today.
Okay.
So I coordinate the two businesses together because I think home is one of our biggest investments that we ever make in our lifetime. And I've also been fascinated with people's spaces. And so I enjoyed the real estate business probably even more than I do the financial advice. Still doing both and enjoying it both. It's incredible how similar these two businesses are when it comes to people and relationships.
Yeah. All right. So, and what do you hope to gain out of this class?
Well,
You've been in it for a while.
I've been doing a lot of reflecting on this topic this last week, over the weekend, and I need to make some major changes to what I do with real estate. So for the moment, it's just to become a capper in this business, but beyond that, the sky's the limit.
I love that. I mean, and I'll talk about that today too. I mean, self-limiting beliefs in this business are very real, but the thing I love about this business is sky is the limit, and you really do get out of it what you put into it. So as long as you're doing the right activities and managing that time well, there really is no ceiling for that growth. Yeah, great. It just goes to show, like, even if you've been in this business for a lot of years, there's definitely still opportunity for growth. Jason, I know you kind of said you're just getting into it. What's your background before this?
But well, I got my degree in South Florida, University of South Florida, and I was in the Hollywood area too, but down there. But I was
Thanks. Me too. Oh my God, we have to talk.
So, but I got my degree in business management, but with the concentration in small business entrepreneurial, and but I didn't get to use that aspect of it. But I got my commission in the Air Force. I was in the Air Force for 27 years, but I was an acquisition program manager. So I managed weapon system programs, and so I worked with the Boeings and the Lockheed Martins and those types, and I led teams where we wired weapon systems and that. So I was basically the agent for the users, the warfighters, to acquire equipment for them. So it's kind of their agent, and I was allowed to buy them. I had to be certified to buy for them. They weren't allowed to buy their own stuff. So, but I was. So so that's kind of where my kind of tie-in is, and I had to work without everybody. So I feel like I have some kind of experience in that regard. And I was a professor for the last 6 years of my career, teaching the whole acquisition life cycle program certification courses to military folks and civilians. And my aspiration here is just to soak up as much as I can from this class. And I don't know what my goals are yet. I'm not even an agent yet. So, but I'm going to business with my girlfriend and we're going to be a team. And she's been in the business for 5 years.
Yeah.
So.
But everybody's, that's what I love about this business. There's a million ways to do it, and everybody's different in terms of what they have in terms of aspirations. I remember sitting in my night class 7 years ago, and Julia, Shane, if you know of her, she's amazing. I think it's Julia Israel now. But that was back then. And she would ask, like, what is your volume goal? And I was like, I want to make $100,000 PCI. And I thought that was like, oh, if I can do that, then I replace my other income and I'll be happy. And it took a little over a year and it happened. And then it's just like, all right, well, now what? And it's just like, that's kind of the, where that ceiling is, you want to continue to break through that. Potentially, maybe some people are just happy once they get to that level too, and that's fine. But it's just, how can you make that sustainable is the other piece of it. And again, a lot of that's going to be through what we talk about today. So, Erica?
I got into real estate in 2021 when houses were flying off the shelf. And I started July of 21. In my first 6 months, I had 6 transactions. 2022, I had 4. 2023, I had 0. You see the direction here. 2024, I had 2. 2025, I had 2. This year, I've already had 2 closings, and I have a listing going active on Friday, so we're starting to go back up.
Okay.
So I'm hoping that this will do something. I've been through Ignite, I went through Ignite. I don't know that Ignite was I did it at Maple Grove, and I'm not sure it was the right format for me because it was done by video.
Okay.
And
sure, with COVID and all that stuff.
it just that format doesn't work well for me. I do better a real human being in the same room as me. So I'm hoping that this will be a little bit of.
Oh, I'm Edwin Shen. I've been in real estate about 3 years. I wrote this all down because I have too much stuff. I have a pretty strange combination of stuff. I grew up in the hospitality industry in South Florida, Coral Springs, represent. I can't believe she's my hometown. I did corporate finance. I did cloud software sales in Silicon Valley. I ran retail franchise organizations in Southern California, all very not related things. I enjoy real estate because you can intertwine personal aspects with business and it's okay. Right. I made the switch so I can devote more time to my family. I've got 2 younger kids, so more stay-at-home dad these days. So my goal from Breakthrough is to structure a more disciplined year and to efficiently run my weeks. I tend to get very distracted. I'm pretty much been described as a squirrel in a cage. I get really bad attention, shall tell you. I want to do 6 transactions at minimum for the second half of the year.
Yep.
I've goose egged for the first half, and my ultimate goal is to be able to take the family overseas every year for pretty much the whole summer, so they can learn different languages and immerse themselves in other cultures. So work like hell for 10 months and disappear for 2.
Yeah. The big why, as we talk about.
Yes.
Yeah. So we haven't got into that yet. I appreciate you sharing that. So it's awesome.
Hi, everyone. I'm Abby Ball. I've been at Keller Williams for, I think, about 2 years, roughly. I was at Lake Zero Realty for about 15 years. And before that, I worked for a commercial outfit that was mostly, our properties were based out of Mankato and Rochester, where our office is in Edina, with some local projects going on here.
Yeah.
So I put myself through business school to do more commercial and kind of go on my own. And yeah, just kind of built my career over time. I mean, when I was in high school, I had a professional accounting job. I got introduced to some people, and it was just supposed to be an introduction, but I wound up working for 2 years as accounting. And I just feel like, although accounting was easy for me, I felt like I was too much of an extrovert, and those people just looked at me like I was a leper. Like, get out of here. You're talking about going to First Avenue on the weekend. I think real estate kind of harmonizes my creative side, my extroverted side, and then my strong sense of skills, numbers, and business. So kind of harmonizes nicely.
What are your aspirations for this class or this year?
Just kind of stay on track. I've had a lot of personal things at home that kind of got us off track. We had some unexpected deaths in our family and nearby friends. And I think that, you know, going through deep grief this winter, I just was like, you know, I'm really off track. You know, I need to get out of this funk and kind of get back to my life a little bit.
Commercial real estate, Abby helped our family. She was great. I know nothing about this.
Thank you.
And I think, yeah,
My husband had hired a few people before. I was like, okay, maybe try Abby because will communicate with you better
yeah,
because it's a Wild West. But if you have clients looking, I mean, I personally have used her and we were very happy.
awesome. Testimonials.
Anytime, if you've got some commercial clients or you can think that you have a commercial client, send me an email right away.
Oh, here I am. I'm Christine Putterbaugh. I don't really know what we're doing because I've only,
I was
that's the
just
first
saying,
one.
kind of just give me your background and kind of what your aspirations. Oh, hi, Smiley.
This has been
So
my background first. He's 4 months old almost. This is our second baby coming into the Keller Williams office. So I started real estate about 5 years ago. I got into it really just to help people. I've kind of always been like, I would say, like service minded, whether I was working in a restaurant. I nannied for 15 years before I had my own kids, and I just saw I liked helping people and connecting them, and I could just see what people needed before they really realized it. And I think that's something that the families that I work for that were, I mean, they're very high profile. Like there are so many things I do on the back end that have no idea. And then when I leave, they'd be like, we didn't even realize you were doing all this stuff. And so whatever, that is what it is. My mom is a lender. So I've been in the industry around it my whole life. And I was like, Mom, that's boring. I'm not doing that. I was like, I'll go do the upfront stuff. So then I transitioned into real estate.
You're doing the hard work.
Sure. Different hard.
Yeah.
That's boring. And sorry, what was our big why? Is that the other thing?
Yeah,
Or
well, I mean, kind of what are your goals for?
goals?
Yeah.
This year my goals are a lot different. Basically every other year it's been a little different. My goal is to just really help people make a little bit of extra income so that my husband and I could kind of live a more flexible lifestyle and invest a little bit. It's nice because we don't have to have childcare, which is a big burden on some families, I would say. Not burden as in children are a burden, but financially. It can be expensive, but I get to spend a lot of time with my kids and my clients. They're just but yeah, I mean, I just really like helping.
Hi, I'm Maddie. This is my second year as a realtor. I've been at Keller Williams for like a year and a half, I think, something like that. I got into real estate because it seemed like the right transition. I did locations before this, and we have a rental, so I manage that property. We are getting into commercial and just like more investing into books and it's fun. So,
Nice. What are your goals? What's your goal for this year?
to get more comfortable with, I guess, like the process and explaining that to people. I've only had one transaction so far, and the lead gen part is, I mean, the emails and online, that part is fine and easy, but it's more so like,
Oh, you've been off the hook.
My name is Leah Esparza. I am on the leadership team here. I'm the director of First Impressions. I just graduated from the University of Iowa with a degree in finance a little over a year ago. I came to Minnesota because I have family up here, friends from college. I just wanted to get out my little bubble from Rockford, Illinois, where I grew up. I want to become a real estate agent full time a couple years down the road. I'm really enjoying being on leadership team right now, so for the foreseeable future, I really enjoy doing that. My goal with real estate is to have the additional income as well as to pay off my student loans. Financial flexibility kind of going down the road and being able to save for the future and when I build a family and do my house and all that fun stuff. Yeah.
Do we have anybody online?
No.
Okay.
I don't think we offered it.
Yeah. Did we? Okay, I didn't know. All right, so let's get into it a little bit. So a big part of the focus today is going to be on Command. How many people in here currently use Command on a regular basis? Show of hands. Couple.
I don't, but I should be.
I learned something yesterday. That was cool.
So I'm working on getting past that block.
For the people that, besides yourself, that are not using Command on a regular basis, what are you using for a CRM? So I don't use Command either. Notion? Okay. How about you, CC?
I'm using Command, just not
Not regularly?
like I should,
Okay,
yeah.
just not taking full advantage of it. And again, there are other CRMs out there. I had mentioned I joined a team initially. They had invested, this was before Command even was around. Command is pretty new still. They invested in what's called Boomtown. If any of you have heard of that, it's a great program. It's expensive, but we kind of got inundated to it, and it was really built for real estate agents long before a lot of other things that were available. So we've just gotten really comfortable with it, and we just can't cut the umbilical cord. We've tried, but we just love it too much. So, and I'll show you a little bit of functionality of that. Now that commands continue to evolve, there's a lot of similarities and a lot of same functions that you can do. And I think that's great. In addition to that, before you guys leave today too, I'll share another tool that we use just specifically at the home group that Nikolai really created, which is another tracking mode that just really tracks where your current business is as well, besides what's in Command. And it's just another tool that we use that we feel helps us manage our business. So that's the goal for me out of this, you guys, is to really hopefully give you guys what you need as you leave from here to, hit some of your goals and make you a little bit more successful, and hopefully just overcome some of those fears that we have as human beings that are very natural in terms of, breaking through to that other side. So, what do we got here? If we go to the next slide, I guess I have a clicker. I can do that probably. Control here. I need to point at the computer at all. All right. So the goal in Breakthrough 120, I wasn't at the first session, by the way, so I was up north. And so I didn't go through all of those slides. So if there's some repetitiveness of what Rob talked about, I'm sure there is some overlap there. But I believe what he set you guys on was the path to do 10 real estate conversations, or the challenge was 10 real estate conversations a day for 5 days a week for the next 120 days. Which should ultimately, based off of just schematics, result in 9 potential agreements, whether that's not necessarily contracts in terms of sold homes, but buyer rep agreements, listing agreements, and so forth. So how did everyone do with the first 5 days? I know we were going into a vacation weekend, and maybe not everybody did that, but can I see a show of hands? How many people talked to 50 people last week? Yeah.
I was close.
You're pretty close?
Yeah.
Okay.
The day's not over yet, Brian.
Yeah. Well, and if the class was on Tuesday and then you had the holiday, so
Maybe the end of the day yesterday.
and the day yesterday was the goal? Okay, on the official clock.
Today starts the new week. At least that's what Rob said, or that was my understanding. Who knows?
Well, as we get into that a little bit, hopefully you guys had some successful conversations as we get into it. And we'll talk about, like, for those people that maybe you don't already have in your CRM, or conversations that you had, and basically some of the follow-up that might be needed because of those conversations, how we can actually apply that in Command and use that as a tool to follow up on those conversations. Continue to do that as you move forward in this whole process. Okay. So we're right here with the follow-up, and that's going to lead into ultimately setting appointments, did anybody actually set an appointment from that lead generation time over the last 5 days? Randy did. Erica did.
I did, but it fizzled
Yeah.
after the appointment. It took like maybe 24 hours.
Let's take a minute and just pause and tell me a little bit about your conversation and how it got to an appointment.
Just came across this business card that for some reason I kept it. It was a plumber, a
Okay.
gal, and it was a lady plumber. And I remember her at my house. So I'm just gonna call her. What do I have to lose? So a man answered the phone and I asked for Beth. Oh, we don't have a Beth here. Oh, well, she was at my house. She was a plumber and I was impressed with her and we got started talking about real estate and we do a lot of real estate business, but we also make referrals to vendors in plumbing, for example.
Yeah.
And I wanted to talk to her about that. He says, well, I own the business. And she used to work for me 2 years ago. She left. I said, well, we're always looking for good plumbers. And I am putting together a list of vendors that we would like to recommend, but I don't know you or your business very well.
Yeah.
And when I recommend vendors, I'm hoping that they will recommend me. I said, do you think you and I could have that kind of relationship? He says, well, I don't know you either. I said, well, let's have lunch.
All right.
So we're having lunch tomorrow.
Okay.
And we'll see if this pans out and maybe a good vendor. I don't know. The lady who was at my house a few years ago was a good plumber. And
Yeah. He hired her probably.
there it is. Yeah. So we'll see.
I love it. And that's actually a great segue into some later slides as we get through this a little bit further. But I love hearing stories like that because that's actually a big part of our business. We actually have a huge vendor referral spreadsheet that we keep, and it's bringing value to our clients. And that's kind of the underlying theme of some of this is like coming to it with the right mindset and kind of more of a service-minded mindset as you start talking to potential prospects rather than being salesy, right? Because I think that's where we all kind of, and not all of us, but that's where a lot of us might feel intimidated. We're like, we don't want to come off with salesman breath or saleswoman breath and be pushy. And so coming at it, and I've heard a couple people say coming at it from a standpoint of service, and that's going to be part of this whole theme as well, can often be more well received, as you will. So, all right. So basically the goal for this, again, is to utilize the functions of command or your chosen CRM to be consistent and bring value to your contacts. Like, how can I bring value? Customize your smart plan. I don't know if anybody in here actually utilizes smart plans already, but if you don't, it is a fantastic tool. There's options to even customize it. That's been my stumbling block with some of the smart plans is like, it doesn't sound like it's my voice. So it takes time to go through and build out email templates or text templates that have your voice. But once you build it, it's basically then set it and forget it. But again, that is a huge part of the business in terms of follow-up and maximizing your time. And then establishing a habit of regularly doing it, time blocking, right? Can I see, I know I don't want to embarrass anybody, but like how many people on in here, can I see a show of hands, literally have on your Google Calendar time blocked for lead generation? You got 4, 5? Yeah, that's pretty good. If you don't do that, it's so easy to not do it, right? So not commit, if you will. Yes.
I've got a question about that too, though, about the time block and all of that.
Yeah.
Because, say you time block from 9 to 11 or 9 to whenever. The people then that you're calling and trying to follow up with, most of them are probably at work.
Sure.
So you're getting voicemails and stuff like that. When does everybody here typically time block for that? For calls?
Anybody want to address that? Does anybody mix it up?
Anybody have a good system?
Yeah.
Erica?
So for me personally, and I've received a lot of pushback on this, I do my lead gen between the hours of 4 and 7 p.m. because that is when I'm most likely to get up with people and have good conversations with people. every coach I have ever talked to is like, no, do it in the morning and then let them call you back and have their conversations. I'm like, because that is a waste of my time. It's a waste of my time to call people and not get a hold of them, only for them to call me back and spend more time having a conversation with them. I'd rather spend my morning doing other things and then do my lead gen when I know I'm most likely to be successful with it. But receive tons of pushback on that because they're like, by 4 to 7, you're not going to want to do it. I'm like, but I do it.
You go.
Well, in my age group, 55 plus, they are available in the morning. And so depending on who I'm reaching out to, that'll kind of determine who I'll focus on in the morning versus the afternoon. But even those that will say work full-time jobs, when I reach out to them before 12, a lot of times they'll still respond back. They'll text me back. I'll call you later type deal. And then sometimes they will not.
For your lead gen, do you always call or do you text a lot?
I almost always text because that's how my people prefer it generally. But I text my sphere. Those are the people that I'm reaching out to. So, yeah, that's what I do. I mean, I'll get on a phone call sometimes if it merits it, but generally speaking, I'm texting.
Well, and I think, excuse me, personalizing it to that individual. And so maybe I just not thought of this, but maybe part of that conversation with them is, how would you prefer I reach out to you? I want to check in with you every couple of months. Do you prefer I text you? Do you prefer I call you, email you? Ask that question.
Yeah. We're going to get into some of those topics as we go through this in terms of like, all right, well, what kind of conversations, how should I be engaging them? What should I be engaging them with in terms of bringing value to the table and to maybe increase my odds of getting a response, and not maybe coming off as just, again, salesy and just, hey, I'm just checking in. Oh, really? Okay, so you're wondering if I want to sell or buy? No. So like, what other ways can I communicate with that person more consistently, actually, to stay top of mind? And that's going to be a big part of this as well, staying top of mind. And that's really the goal with all of it. So, all right. So progress report. This was the spreadsheet that I believe Rob introduced all of you to. Was everyone here last week, by the way? Everyone, I know there's a couple people that signed up that weren't here that might be here today. So number of contacts you've added to your database. Do we have some numbers that we could share specifically? Or did we actually just call out to people that were already in our database?
I've been working on cleaning up my database.
Yeah, that's a monstrous
Adding to it.
proposal right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's been taking a
Yeah.
good chunk of time.
All right. And then obviously sometimes with the newer agents, maybe you just don't have as robust of a database as well in terms of that.
I've been all over the country with my military career, and I got people in there that I don't even know who they are, and they're not going to be, people in Oklahoma and Virginia and in New Mexico aren't going to be buying houses necessarily in Minnesota. So I need to clean that up.
Yeah. That was my struggle as well. Again, I was traveling the country as well for my job for quite a few years. So a lot of my colleagues and stuff lived in Atlanta, California, and so forth. So as I was going through those lists and cleaning up my database, I was applying tags to the different people so that I could organize it. We're going to talk about that in Command 2 on how you can utilize tags to be more efficient within the world of Command and your CRM. So definitely.
Don't get rid of those people in other states.
Right.
They're still going to be buying and selling out there. It can be a referral to somebody in those states.
And I actually had one from Atlanta that ended up relocating to Hopkins right next to me in St. Louis Park. So you just never know. So again, to have that communication and just let them know. And that's, I think, the beauty about Keller Williams, especially having the nationwide referral opportunity. If you look at Perry Hirth, for instance, he is like one of the masters in terms of a referral, building his business around referrals. I think he probably say that probably about half of his business comes from that. And so if you want to build that over time, it doesn't happen overnight, but if you want to build it over time, that's a great way to build sustainable business.
Well, my agent that helped me sell my townhouse in DC,
Yeah.
she still keeps up with me and I get all sorts of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, you just never know.
What did she send you?
I get a magazine, with her picture on it. It's a really cool magazine thing. I get, home valuation, what my house is worth. And so I get these.
Yeah.
They can click on that and it tells me, oh, you got this much equity in your house and all that. So yeah, I see her face all the time and she's out, so I know that she's out there. So.
Love it. And like, obviously, we'll talk about the neighborhood nurture and stuff in command that they offer, but then there's other things too, specific to your property value with like HomeBot, some of those things that are kind of similar to Zillow, but again, more personalized to you as the agent. So it's you sending it to them and having that touch and just part of being that 36 touch program in general. So, anybody want to just go through this whole thing and just share specifically what their last week looked like? Any volunteers? Nico?
So I did add 7 people to my database.
So 7 brand new people that you've never had before. That's fantastic.
And then thank you, as I was going through some of them, it gave me an opportunity to reach out to them because I didn't have maybe their email or I didn't have their home address.
Sure.
And so that gave me an opportunity to also ask the question, is it okay if I add you to my database and then I'll send you information a couple of times a month?
Nice. They were pretty receptive to that?
Yes. Yeah. And we talked yesterday on our 9 o'clock call, which by the way, just a reminder, 9 to 9:30 every day except for today. Then we can see how we're doing. So we'll have one tomorrow.
Okay.
But we talked quite a bit about, okay, how do you add people? And some people just add, if they meet someone, they'll add them to their database and then other people ask the questions. I mentioned I had 43 conversations, but I think I'm off just because I either didn't include last Tuesday. So I just have to figure that out to make sure it's a full week.
Sure.
And then I didn't put anything down for any of the other areas.
Okay.
Follow up. I didn't do an open house, didn't have any social media leads. Now on my way here, I did get a text and I do have an appointment on the way here, but I'll count that for next week, right, Erica?
Yep. I could be wrong. You can verify with Rob.
No, I think we just have to be consistent, right? So I'll just these Tuesdays.
It just makes it easier if you're done by the breakthrough class, so that
From accountability, I was trying to wiggle my way into it.
We have accountability on Wednesday, so I'll probably find a line of that too. So, well, I guess obviously, like I said, key part of this, why you're even here, is this and being diligent about filling this out on a weekly basis. So I always say that can be measured, can be improved. And so if you're constantly looking at what you doing or not doing, and we're trying to grow on that, you can always say, well, why am I not making those 10 calls? And I'll revert back to draw from personal experiences. When I first got in this business, big push was, you call your sphere. And it was just like, so call my old college friends that I hadn't talked to in over 10 years. So I've been out of business. I've been out of college for 20 years at that point. Or call my friends and family members that, hey, I want to, try and be your realtor. And I go, like, I'm brand new to this business. I don't want to come off as like sales. And also for me, it was really, but for like a lot of you probably, it's really intimidating and really hard to have those conversations or have the ambition to reach out. So with Boomtown, for instance, we do get some high up the funnel leads. And so I just focused on that for my first 6 months, and I was just calling those people and working those leads and doing a ton of open houses. And that's why I feel I got very proficient at open houses, because I needed the business because I had to support my family, but it wasn't coming from just my normal sphere at that time. So I needed to make it happen. And so that's where I focused my time. But so everybody's different in terms of, who you're going to call, what that looks like. And we'll talk about some of those different opportunities as well and how you can grow your sphere as we go through this whole process. But I think more than anything is just making those calls and having those conversations even and adding them to your database, whether that's meeting someone in an elevator, at a gas station, whatever the case may be. There's opportunities everywhere if you want to make it. It's just having that confidence and that comfort level of talking to people and taking it to that next level. So, all right, let's move on. So fears. This is a tough one. It really is. Fear is a real thing. And I always try and frame it in a way to help people understand that, like, if you knew that it was going to take 10 no's, because I mean, I think the biggest fear for a lot of people is either rejection or just failure in general. But if you knew it was going to take 10 no's for every one yes, or 20 no's for every one yes in terms of a possible appointment, how excited would you be to get those no's? I mean, I would want to plow through those as quickly as possible. Like, nope, okay, great, I'm on to the next. Because this is a numbers game at the end of the day. And it might be and then the other thing to keep in mind is it might be a no today because everybody's on a different timeline. And 2 years from now, that no could be easily a yes. So that's why you got to be consistent with it. But just knowing that I got to go through those no's to get to that yes, well, I get excited when I get a no because it's just like, all right, well, that just wasn't a no for you. It was just a no for you right now. And I'm going to move on. So I think, having that mindset and not taking it personally. I actually, during college, I sold kids' books door to door down in Arkansas. It's the Southwestern Publishing Company. Has anybody ever heard of that? It's a program that they used to have in college where they would literally have you go to Nashville and give you a week of training, and then they send you off to different parts of the country. You wouldn't know until the end of that week of training where you're going to be. And then you go to that city, and then you knock on doors and find a place to live. And you're looking for people that have like a garage with a place above it or an extra room or whatever. So you're going out, I mean, literally, and then you basically start going around and knocking on doors, selling kids' books door to door. And, I think that's basically conditioned me to have a little bit tougher skin as far as no's, because there's a lot of rejection in that business and a lot of failure in that business. And it just, made me realize that, it was a numbers game. The more doors I knocked on that day, the more opportunities I had. And, obviously too, the more polish you get, right? Because you're having repetition and you're figuring out, well, what went wrong there? And that's the big thing, is taking that step back and taking some reflection in terms of what could I have done different to give myself a better shot with that person? Sometimes it's just timing, but sometimes maybe it's just like they're not comfortable with you because you're not saying the right stuff. And so it's always about getting just a little bit better every day, every time. If you look in our office, we have a big print in our office saying 1% better every day. It's just doing those little things that are going to give you that possible advantage to be a little bit more successful. So look at your fears from your previous session. Did you guys write down a lot of fears as you went through that process with Rob? What are some of the fears that you guys have written down?
So one of the things that I said last time is that I need to have my database, the command at my ready on the desk in front of me so that I can go through all the contacts in command.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not always in front of that laptop, and it's hard to fire it up all the time. And if I'm somewhere else, I don't have it there. So do some of you get to command through your phone? You can do that, right? Because I don't know how to do that. So I got my phone out. I wanted to make a call.
Yeah.
And there was a guy I talked to last week. I want to make a follow-up call. I don't have him in my phone. I have him in command. So I go through my recent calls, and I think I remember his phone number is a 763 number. Go back to the day I thought I talked to him. I'm just going to call it. I call that number. Hey, this is Randy Walker. Are we going to be out looking at real estate like we said? And whoever this was, it wasn't him. He says, no, we've decided to move to Naples, Florida instead. We're starting to look out in Naples, Florida. Sorry. Okay, well, it was kind of a fearful situation, to tell you the truth, because I didn't know who I was talking to. I still don't know who he was.
Wow.
But I tried.
Yeah. Well, you know, there are tools for that, so definitely tap into the office, maybe connect with other agents or Rob or whoever, can help you understand that, to correlate there. I mean, I know with my Boomtown, we actually have an app, and I have clear visibility on when my people are in Boomtown. If they're looking at properties, it'll automatically send me an alert that they've been active on the site, so I can hit the one button and call them right from that app, which is kind of nice. Another trick that you can do, if you have an iPhone, one of the things we do for every potential client is create a note, and it's kind of our catch-all. I used to be notoriously bad at Post-its. Where I write some stuff down and I'd have just like 30 Post-its on my desk, and I'm trying to sort through them to try and find stuff that's relevant. And it was just a nightmare. And so I've gotten really good at using notes now in my iPhone, where literally we'll start a profile essentially on that client, so that as you're having even conversations, you can write down exactly, and there's some of this capabilities in Command as well, but again, to have it on your phone and have it directly coordinated, especially if you use an Apple product as well, to have it all right there and have that to reference. And it's particularly helpful with listings, because there's so much information that is nice to have on one spot for listings. It's a game changer. And it's really nice to do it on a team, because then when we do have someone that wants to know about the property or whatever, to be able to share it, you can share those notes and have them edited if they're doing an open house, how many people do you have to do, all that stuff. It just makes it such a more streamlined process. If that makes sense. So if you're not familiar with notes, feel free to hit me up. I'd be more than happy to show you.
I'm gonna hit you up.
Okay.
Okay.
So your fear was like not remembering their name or who they were and how to find them again and that type of thing? Was that what you're trying to say?
Oh, well, I knew the name, but I wasn't sure I had the guy.
Yeah.
So I didn't know if that was him or not. So I wasn't fearful of calling the number, but I was afraid I'd get caught being dumb about the whole situation.
Yeah. Well, and again, I think that's always good to take those notes and have a place to reference those. Like before I'll make that call to that person in my sphere or in Boomtown, I will literally look back at the notes. Okay, last conversation, I texted them. It was a blue bubble. They didn't respond. Or they said that they were looking, they're probably going to be about a year out, and I can check back in about 6 months. And I'll say, hey, just checking back in. I know last time we spoke, this is what you said. And so you're referencing their words and then basically staying current with them. So I'll show you a couple of my personal examples in my CRM, Boomtown at the end here as well. But we're going to stick kind of to this for at least the majority of the class. How's everyone doing? We're about an hour in. We need a bio break at all? Are we doing okay? Yeah? Okay. I see a little nod from Leah.
Yeah, it's good to take a break at the hour.
What's that? Yeah.
Professor, I fully endorse the break.
Okay. Let's take a 10-minute break. Is that enough for everybody? Great. And we'll be back here at 10:08. Or 10:09. Good start. Yes. Awesome. Did you feel
They didn't see fireworks or anything. I didn't hear it.
Fireworks at Washington.
Were they?
That was 4th of July. They got,
Me, the 5th of July? I heard they didn't fire them off until after midnight.
no, well, but the ceremony started on that late. This 2 hours late. President didn't want to do it. He had good time on the floor. Fireworks probably were after midnight.
Where we've been Rapid City is from, and we didn't. No, so you had to have tickets like well in advance that go to Mount Rushmore for the fireworks and everything. And my father-in-law was like, well, could maybe go to that kind of overlooks Mount Rushmore. But then, some of his buddies went to try to go there to watch the fire. For security and everything, telling them they couldn't get up there. They overlooked enough of Mount Rushmore for security purposes with the president being there that they couldn't.
I just heard a small part of that.
Beautiful. In a theme today, apparently.
Hey, how are you? I love the haircut. Can you just get that done? You're so tan. I'm so jealous of all your raspberries.
No, you would wrong every time I have a baby.
What you do? I don't even remember that from last time. Hi, man. He looks so much for the babies. Stephanie? As easy as the other ones. Literally, I think you're Just because of the other kids? Okay.
But now we're okay. Now we're really. I know you want to.
I finally got my turn. I got my turn. The fresh babies only last for so long.
Yeah. You're 3.5, 4 months old now. You're
So what are the siblings thinking?
good, but they don't like bother me too much. Typically, so.
Yeah.
Um,
Got it.
I haven't
I was in the Boundary Waters. Oh, not the Boundary Waters,
You
but
were
I
up
was
in
healing. Yeah.
Yeah. I saw that. You
Yeah.
posted because you're finally free. Oh.
I can't even talk about it. Like I was having blood pressure problems for a while.
Yeah. we
Because I
dealt
use
with that
Marketplace for a ton of stuff and I promote stuff on
Right, right,
Facebook.
right. You just keep searching it
Oh
for
my God.
everything you do.
I know. Even events, like volunteer events. It's all in social media.
For like business Facebook.
Yes.
page?
So those are getting, so they hacked my page, took over my business page, and they did a ad that was against violations. I got disabled.
Yeah.
There's no customer service.
Yeah.
And it's a circle.
Yeah, yeah.
They spent $300 on my account.
Yeah. Brandon Dallas.
We can't depend on AI. How it's dangerous.
Yeah.
To not have any customer service. What if it was like your teenager or something that would have was happening?
Yeah.
Or like you're right.
Get one.
Your reputation as a realtor matters. What if someone posted like really inappropriate stuff?
Right.
I am.
Right here.
Well, I know. I talked to her last time. Yeah.
Connected.
Yeah, we are.
Network, yeah.
Yeah, I've got my own pickleball private group.
Oh, yeah.
There was a huge thing with AT&T.
I have that shirt.
Me too. The same one?
I have the same one and I love wearing it. I have to plan and wear it on the same day.
Day, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, about 249,
There's customer service.
249 members right now. Started this 2 years ago with 5 people.
Yeah.
So this is the CRM right here.
Exactly.
Like you can on a text message to log in. But it's really the only.
50 member of my group.
Yes,
And I recommend.
I have it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm part of some-
Way more.
So I will.
But Jeremy 22 and then.
Andrew. It's I use it for pickleball, but I can use it for
Still.
ball or. It's actually it's the safest out there. That's
Picky and this is what the color sheet.
Oh my God, I love it.
I'll just buy it with a gift.
You did.
I'd rather.
That was bad. I don't know why I started doing that.
Yeah, and then she's telling me.
Go
to do
ahead,
it.
sorry. I didn't think I was strumming in the right
Yeah,
area. Okay.
Yeah.
From here.
Yeah, I do. I do.
The bearskin.
Oh, I-
Bearskin Lake State Park is in Superior Forest, but it's half the lake is Boundary Waters.
Okay.
So it's technically like a.
Like the color.
Did I just hear bearskin?
Are you
Huh?
Are you sure you say bearskin?
Huh?
For the whole week.
What day is it?
Right across.
Hey,
We're
20.
Graduated.
just in Ely for the fourth.
Graduated.
No,
Yeah.
You were at there, now I gotta look at the date.
Tampa.
there's the 28th or the 27th.
87.
Yeah, so
And lived there for, remember that Saturday?
oh, wow, I moved
Yeah.
there.
You did it. Oh, we were leaving when you were coming in. So we went last year for the first time with our kids, and then we went this year. So you were in which cabin?
Cabin 6, the new one.
The new, okay. Oh, so you were at the lodge,
Well, so there's lodge.
and then there's the
and
campground.
There's 10.
I
Yeah.
got tired of
Yeah.
it. I don't want to go back.
Yeah, I don't have any.
But it's technically
Third down.
I just moved my poor mother
Bearskin Lake,
to South Florida.
like the lodge owns cabins.
Yep.
So then were you at the
There's a
campground?
There's a campground too there.
Okay, we were at the campground.
Oh, okay.
We were at the lodge.
Yeah.
Okay, lodge is beautiful. So the lodge runs the campground.
The huge.
So Thursday, we were supposed to rent a pontoon from the lodge, and the pontoon, we had fishing boats, but it was nice that our whole crew could go out on a boat together. But,
I don't know what happened.
did you get an ice cream sandwich?
I don't. I think
The 4th of July, when you're camping though, like water's going, I can tell in my husband and I was like, have a break and get an ice cream sandwich. Cause I was like, oh, no. I was like,
You want to be inside during the week time, or do you want to be inside?
Yeah.
Or do you want to be inside?
Yeah, good point.
Have you ever heard that like canceled because they were like posting that a bunch of people were like canceling last minute and they're like offering? I was like, my cabin instead of tenting, or we brought a camper this year. So did you fish?
I did.
Okay.
I golf and.
I was a lifeguard at Atlantis.
Oh,
Atlantis Water Kingdom.
Okay.
Water slides.
Wow.
Yeah, so I would get out on the share at 9 a.m. and it was already
I catch my kids
nasty. And
yeah, we hike, just finished. My son lost a fishing pole.
oh, did you?
Uh-huh.
Literally, so we were out on
That I managed to.
our friends. So that's them and their 2 kids, and then Gavin. And first thing he did first night, brand new little kid fishing pole that he was just thinking around with.
You don't remember that?
No.
No?
I'll buy you a new fishing pole, Grayson. For you.
Leave from hanging out.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
Well, we'll go
Yeah.
back to Hungry Jack.
Yep.
Poplar House.
Yeah. The trail center. A lot of time at the trail center, only for the fact that it's super close.
There's,
That coffee shop right there too.
sophomore year.
Did you get one? Okay. My daughter wouldn't eat anything but the frosting because it was
I'm older than you both.
so you got there after it was cold. So we got there the Saturday before that first night. It was a day over 30. I was not prepared. We had of campers
No.
and had a heater, but we hadn't set it up because we didn't think we were gonna need it, not realizing how cold
The
it
names
was.
earlier, I don't think.
And he was totally fine. I like made sure we had enough layers because within that week it was like we had 41-degree weather.
Wait, you're from?
We had rain all day one day,
For hours.
and then we had like 80-degree weather the last 2 days. I had to literally for like every like situation. But the fishing was really good.
Yeah, I know, but I don't know.
Paddleboard, so I have a blow up paddleboard we bring up there, and the kids and I will like tote around on that because it's so peaceful and quiet, and I don't have to like sit. Well,
No, I know.
for a little while.
Been like.
All right, we're at 10:09. Get started again.
So are you going? You'll go up again next year.
Yeah,
You'll go up
we already
the
got-
same week.
Yeah, we got it booked. It's always, obviously you can fall a little bit different, but it's the Saturday to Saturday for cabins.
Right around the same. Maybe we'll be up there the same time next year.
Cool.
I'll see when we book ours. I'll let you know.
Yeah, please do. All right. We're gonna continue on with the fears a little bit. So in my book here, it looks like you guys had talked about rational and irrational fears. Does anybody want to share a rational fear that they have about making these calls?
They're probably all irrational.
Go ahead, please.
Well, I have friends, and my rational fear is that I'm gonna alienate one of my friends, and they're gonna think that I'm just with friends with them just so I can get their business.
So I guess, very real fear. I have the same thing. Well, it's like, I mean, they're not gonna pick up the phone when I call anymore, right? Because they think I'm just calling specifically for that. So I guess that can be rational, but if you have the right conversation in terms of the purpose of the call, and just let it be more natural, that could become an irrational fear. And I think it's just, and we'll talk about what some of those things are coming value and or just coming from a more genuine purpose in terms of service, rather than being like, hey, do you know of anybody that's looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? That's one way to have a conversation and to maybe different ways, genuine conversations you can have and frame that differently. So, what are some irrational fears people wrote down?
Mine were that people don't want to work with me, I'm bothering people and I'll lose friends.
Okay.
I put those all into the irrational.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I think it depends on the person too, right? So like if I've met a lead at an open house and I'm following up with them, yeah, I'm afraid they may. Again, do I really care?
I do.
But the question becomes, why wouldn't they want to work? Is it because I'm not bringing value, or they're not ready yet, or any of those reasons? Or, the reality is, if I need to get through those 10 no's to get to that one yes, do I really care? No, because again, I'm changing my mindset to try to get to that one yes. So, and the other thing is just like, you're probably never going to see that person again in your life. So do you really care what they think of you? You don't. So again, I think too often we do care about what other people think. And it's just like, or we think we know what they're thinking, right? And they're not thinking about it. Right. They're so they're so involved with their own life and their own thoughts and their own day. They're not thinking about you. And it could just be strictly a timing thing. Like, oh, I've reached out to that person twice. They haven't even returned my call. I'm not going to even reach out to them anymore. And they're obviously just not interested. Well, maybe they're just busy. I mean, we have such a perspective of like what timeline clients should be on for us. And that's not reality. There's clients that I've been talking to that I've met at open houses, a few this year, as a matter of fact, where I've been talking to them for 3+ years. And a couple of them that had barely ever responded. But then when it came time, because I was consistent, guess who they called? I got the business. I think they say the average client needs, especially like a Boomtown client or a colder client or open house client, needs to have 8 touches before they'll sometimes engage.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do that enough. I honestly don't. I will sometimes, reach out a few times, and after that, I kind of let some of those fall through the cracks. But that's where those smart plans can really come into play, or just even setting someone up on a search where it's giving them an automated search of properties that are matching their criteria. I've had clients reach out or prospective clients reach out where they said, yeah, you've been doing such a great job. I really appreciate all the listings you've been sending me. Can you send me a little bit more information on this one? Never had one conversation with them, but they had the perception that I was bringing value because they're set up on that search. And it was automated. It was just something that our system, Boomtown, set them up on based on the couple of properties that they looked at when they first came to our site. Pretty sweet. So you can do the same types of things with Command. Well, so again, fear of being perceived as annoying or pushy. Consistent contact isn't annoying as long as you come to it with value. We talked about this a little bit earlier in terms of having purpose, having a preferred vendor list, coming to the idea if they actually own a home already, that, what is the value of your current home and how has it gone up over the years? Or from a financing perspective, is there an opportunity now to refinance? Did you actually sign up for your house when the rates were at 7.5? And now at, wherever they're at, 6.25, whatever, is it worth you taking a look at that? Coming to it from a service-minded aspect of it, where you're bringing that value. So, fear of doing something wrong because you aren't getting the results. Not knowing what you don't know. I think when I first got into this, I knew a lot about sales. So I knew how to get clients. I knew how to sell, but I was very nervous in, say, like the consults, if you will, because what if they're asking me questions, or what if they ask me the question of how long have you been in the business? I mean, how do I answer that? Because that's a real fear in terms of how you would answer that, and they're not going to want to work with a rookie agent. So how can I overcome that? And what I did in that instance is I really leaned on my team and the experience that we had, and talked about how the average agent in the country does probably 5 transactions a year. However, our team, the average person on our team does 15. This was Michael Caswell back then, so it was a bigger team, et cetera. But the average person on our team does probably about 25 transactions a year on average between the 4 of us, 5 of us. So how can you lean into that if you're not on a team? If you're a solo agent, how can you lean into that as a solo agent? Well, hey, you know what? We're with Keller Williams. Basically, it's an amazing brokerage. Culture there is fantastic. We actually have over 160 agents that I network with on a regular basis, and talk about the value that you and your team bring to the table. And so it's just all on how you frame it as far as that goes. And the other thing you can do is turn a negative into a positive. You're just like, well, there are some agents out there that try to be everything for everybody. I try not to take on more than 4 clients at a time, and so that you get my full attention. So if you hire me, this is what you're going to get, and sell that as a benefit versus a possible negative, if that makes sense. So for what it's worth. How will you choose to expose yourself to your fears gradually to overcome them? Good question. Again, I think, there's a quote by Gary Keller that I kept referencing back to. I don't know. The way through fear is action. And, there's really 2 options. It's either go through the fire and learn and press forward, or eventually you will continue to not do that. And what does that look like? You'll basically end up moving on to something else. And all of us in this room got into real estate because we had the aspirations to be successful in this business. And that definition of success can be different for everybody. But again, in order to get there, there are things, unknown things that you're going to have to do to get better and proficient at to be successful in this business. And so it's just persevering and getting through those fears. And so a lot of that is going to be, role playing. I do love, we talk about this a little bit later, and this whole thing is AI now too, being able to role play if you don't have a live person or you're just uncomfortable doing true scripting, do it with AI and then say, well, what if I have this objection? And they will act as if you give them the right prompts, it will act as a client for you and will help you be confident in having those right words to overcome those objections with prospective clients. So lead follow-up. So, again, I talked about there's different resources in terms of where you can get leads from. Prospecting is a big part of it, marketing, and we'll talk about this when we get into the tags a little bit. So you're basically generating those leads. We're going to enter those into our database, turn those into appointments, obviously, eventually. But in the meantime, in terms of the contact to get to those appointments, we're going to start adding tags and creating custom fields. It might be an immediate opportunity, which is great, but otherwise we'll set them up on a smart plan and basically put them into that cog, if you will, that system, if you will, to create those touches so that if they're in that 7th year of that cycle or the 10th year of that cycle, which we'll talk about, we will be front of mind and get that opportunity as we move forward. So it's so easy to lose touch, and that's the hardest thing that I have. It's just, my database has grown so immensely now that I don't touch all these clients nearly enough in terms of contacts. And so the worst feeling I actually have, the fear I have, is that I'll make that call and they're like, yeah, oh yeah, we actually just bought. And I'm like, damn it, why did I not follow up with them sooner? Because again, the odds of them working with me, if I was the last person that they had contacted before they actually, or contacted them before they made that decision, the odds are pretty good that I might have gotten that client. So it's all that consistency more than anything else. So this is a shocking statistic. So 87% of sellers said that they would use their current agent, yet only 29% of them actually do. That's pretty sad. And I feel like we do a pretty good job as a team, the home group, because of the events that we have. We do 2 events throughout the year that are specific to our clients. And then we actually have a 3rd one that's coming now with our fall event we're going to have here at the office. There's other office events that you can invite people to, Red Day, right? Shed and Shred, some of those things that you can do where it's not necessarily hefty on your own personal budget, but it's about having that connection. Same with buyers. 91% that they would say they would use their current agent again, but only 15% do. I'll be sitting in the office and all of a sudden Nikolai's like, damn it. I'm like, what's up, dude? He's like, oh, this person just bought again and they didn't use me. And I was like, and I just asked him, I was like, well, what are you doing for follow-up with him? It's like, yeah, I hadn't followed up with him. It's my fault. And that happens, that can happen and it's very real. But if we did have the right drip campaign on where it was basically home anniversaries or touches or what have you, or getting them to our events where we're kind of having some of those meaningful conversations over that 7 to 10 year span between purchases, the odds of us getting it again are just that much better. It's that getting, I always kind of relate it to like baseball in terms of batting averages. What's a good batting average in baseball? Any baseball fans in here? 350. 350 is a really good batting average. So to get a 350 batting average, does anybody know how that works? Out of 100 pitches, how many would you get? Well, no.
What's the question?
Out of 100 pitches, how many hits would they actually get out of 100?
100 pitches or 100
Or
at
hits. 100
bat?
at bats.
How many hits would they get?
Yeah.
They would get 35.
35. So that means how many are they not getting?
65.
65. So 65% of the time for a really good hitter, they're still failing more than 50%. And the average batting average is probably closer to like 2
to 250. Yeah.
Maybe 250 for decent hitters. So that means that almost 80% of the time, those professional players are failing, right? And so I think that's just some framework that we need to be realistic about as agents that, hey, don't take this personally. It's very likely that 80% or even better that you might be failing, but it's about focusing on the 10, 20% that are having those conversations and staying in contact. So this is the cycle I was telling about. So 7 to 10 years between moves is kind of the average. And a lot of times that can be shorter. I just actually had a client reach out, actually 2 over the last week that I had helped buy about 3 years ago, and both of them are now in different places in life and want me to help them sell their homes. So you just never know what that cycle might look like, but average is 7 to 10 years. So how, once I do sell that person a house or help them sell their home or do a sell by, how do I stay in meaningful contact over that 7 to 10 year cycle so that the next time around I get that business? So that's really what this whole focus is on. So the lead follow-up, all the different milestones, talking about, their birthdays and those celebrations. And basically, I have a neighbor who's a realtor, and obviously I never used him, and he's actually become a friend of mine, but still, even on every birthday, he'll call me and send me a voice, like an actual video, and just say, hey, Brian, just really wanted to call and wish you a happy birthday. He knows I'm a realtor, like, he has no motive, other than to be a good friend, but like, that is impactful. And like, how many of you are taking the time to do that with prospective clients to, basically show that you care about their life? It might just be like, hey, a quick hi, happy birthday on Facebook. Well, they probably got 300 of those, right? So are you just kind of lost in the mix on that? What could you do on that front to take it to the next level? So just, get social media with vacations and kind of commenting on stuff like that. That's obviously become more and more of a thing. Just what's going on with their work, what's going on with their life in general. So just again, being vested and showing genuine interest. And I think that's to your point, Jason, earlier. It's just like, I'm just calling to see if you know anybody that's looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate. Well, if you have that conversation, you might be befriended or unfriended, if you will, by some of these people. But if you're coming to it from a perspective of just, hey, I hadn't talked to you in 5 years, man. I just wanted to call and check in and see how things are going. What's new in your world? And let them talk and understand and just be genuine about it. And then when they basically probably will ask you back, what do you got going? Oh man, I started this new career in real estate. It's been great. I'm at Keller Williams, and then just let that conversation flow naturally. Yes, sir.
So I just had a lunch with a friend of mine who is not really a friend of mine per se, but I babysat for her daughter when I was in high school. Lives in my parents' neighborhood. Haven't talked to her since high school. Yeah. She has come up on several occasions, but like I said, she lives in the neighborhood and she's the former CEO of Planned Parenthood. So she's a very well-known individual. Yep. And so I was like, hey, it would be wonderful to catch up with you. I haven't seen you in a long time. And she was really happy that I reached out, and we had breakfast together, and she was asking me what was up. And I was like, well, I'm in real estate, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, oh God, I wish I would have known. We literally just had 3 transactions in our family. And actually my daughter, who I babysat, is closing next week. And if we had known, we would have reached out to you. Yeah. And so that was painful.
Gut punch.
Yep. And then she said, and also, so there's another neighbor of ours who I was also really close to. Our dogs got married. We had a wedding for them. Whenever each of them would run away, they'd run away to the other dog's house. And so the husband just passed away. And so she was like, reach out to their kids who are out of state. I also know their kids, but not like in contact with them. So I reached out to my dad and I was like, hey, can I get the contact info for the kids? And he was like, they literally just signed with an agent. I was like, Dad, you had one job. One job in that neighborhood. But I mean, it serves me right because there's been a lot of turnover there that I've been aware of, and I haven't bothered to touch the neighborhood. And so what I decided after this meeting was to start touching the neighborhood. So that is my goal now, is that I'm going to start farming the neighborhood I grew up in. And the advantage that I have in that neighborhood is that I grew up in that neighborhood and I'm still connected to the neighborhood, and no other agent in that neighborhood is going to have that. So
don't be a secret agent. Right?
Yes.
We've all heard that before.
We had a huge conversation here. It's just this weekend. Sandy. And she happened to be driving by her old house that we sold 4 years ago. And here's a moving truck in the driveway. So she called another neighbor, and yep, they're moving. They're going to be selling the house. Sandy, get over there, knock on the door. And she said, no, that wasn't my client. Another realtor sold it for us. We just were the listers. That was their client in that transaction. They're not their client anymore. This is 4 years ago now. Go knock on the door and tell them, remember me? I used to own this house. And I love this house. And put some emotion into it, Sandy. And tell them how much you love this house and how much you would really, really appreciate being the listing agent on it again. And if they argue or push back, okay, but at least you tried, Sandy. I'm not going to do that. That's not my client. I don't want to go knock on their, come on, do it. If you're not going to do it, I'll do it.
Fear will hold you back, Worst thing that happens is they say I have another agent.
It happened where my childhood home came up for sale again. And I heard through the old neighbors that they were gonna sell, so I went and knocked on that door. And they recognized me. Come on in. I hear you're selling the house again. Is there any chance you could list it with me? Well, we're thinking about the realtor that we used before, but we really haven't heard from her too much since then. I said, you know what? Right down here on the front step is where I had the last conversation with my dad before he died. I'll never forget that conversation. Now, that was many years ago now, but this house is near and dear to my heart. I mean, I pulled some heartstrings with this.
Yeah.
I said, nobody knows this neighborhood as well as I do. I grew up in it. I love this house. Nobody can sell this house better than I can.
Yeah.
And you know what they said? You got the listing. I got it.
I love it. Well, and you know, as I think about that, I've had it happen where like, are you working with an agent? Yeah. Oh yeah, we got an agent.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. And then I'll literally ask.
I asked what their names are.
Oh, yeah.
I can't
I
tell
don't even
you.
know if I actually know them. Oh yeah, I don't even know. Oh, so they probably haven't signed. But even if they have, or they're being dismissive or what have you, it's still your opportunity to allow them, because who says that other agent's going to do a good job? You know, and what that relationship looks like. And if they are impressed by what you bring to the table and just the experience, because people remember experiences. If you can have it a memorable experience, if the other agent does fall down, who do you think they're going to reach out to? You know, someone that gave them a very positive experience. So just always coming at it from a level of positivity as far as that goes as well, I think is very key. So. All right. Gene, his advice to give it is to keep it simple, have meaningful conversations that come for contribution. And this, again, there's an underlying current of this as we were going around in the beginning of this today with introductions. Well, there's supposed to be the agent success story on this slide. It's what it showed on mine, and someone was supposed to read it out loud, but it's not obviously coming up on this slide. So, Gene, it's in what you have.
Well, who was the Richard?
I apologize.
There's several.
Yeah, let me get to that. I'll read it out. No big deal. So the agent success story that they reference on here is Gene Arendt. He runs a $100 million real estate business. He actually learned his sales from Bold. And so he's actually contacting having 20 conversations a day, which is a lot, in my opinion, to actually have real conversations. It's one thing to call 20 people, but to actually have 20 real estate conversations, it just takes a lot more effort, right? But, you know, again, his mentality, and I really love this part, my biggest takeaway from all of this is Gene says that when Gene's team starts their lead generation for the morning, it's with the directive, go help somebody. And so rather than go make an appointment and that framework, it's like, go help somebody. And whether that's helping them, you know, with a problem at their home, or maybe it's not even home related at all. Maybe it's a job situation. You end up calling somebody and they're like, yeah, you know, I'm just, you know, or like maybe it's their finances and they're just not in a place where they can go. Well, what resources do you have currently to get you on that right path? We worked with some amazing lenders that if you need to work on your credit, let me connect you with some people that can help. And you have that mindset. And again, if it's just someone that's cold calling, are you pre-approved? Are you looking? And that's all they talk about, and they're not, you know, asking the right questions. That can be the difference between gaining a client, gaining, you know, that person and being a trusted advisor to them versus just being another salesperson. So that was my big takeaway from that one. But staying in touch with your database, staying organized, which I think we've been harping on this whole thing. Follow-up becomes systematic, where you're not having to think about it nearly as much. Nurture relationships long-term versus just in the short term, and then increase referrals. I've been doing this about 7 years now, and I really feel like this last year and a half, 2 years is really where I've seen the referral piece of it start to kick into high gear. I think I've had about 8 referrals this year, which is absolutely fantastic when the phone rings and that's what the call you take. Because not that it's a slam dunk per se, you know, there is some instances where I'm still having to interview for the position. But I mean, gosh, I mean, there's no better path to potentially picking up a client versus cold calling or a internet lead or an open house lead. You know, a referral is gold, quite frankly, in my mind. So that's really the goal. And that's, you know, one of the things that we try to do in terms of creating that experience with our clients through the whole process, that they have such a positive experience that they are going to be an advocate for our team or for us as agents where, oh my God, you're going to be selling your house. You got to talk to Nikolai or you got to talk to Brian. They did such an amazing job for us. I wouldn't recommend anybody else. I mean, that's what you want. And that's the kind of business that we're trying to build. And ultimately with this, you know, whole program, that's what we're trying to build for you guys too, is to kind of make that automated where it seems natural. But again, there's just a lot of contact, a lot of service, if you will. So this is the other story. We'll skip that. So adding contacts in Command. This is a little exercise that they would like us to do. Does everyone in here have 5 contacts that aren't in Command currently that they could add? Yeah. All right. I don't know if we'll take, you know, let's just take 10 minutes and see how many we can get done in 10 minutes. Leah, let me ask another question. Does everybody in here know how to add a contact in Command? Because we can bring it up on the screen and literally go through it with you to show you how easy it is. Because it's super easy.
If you have the Command app, you can actually sync your contacts from your phone and any information you have straight over to your Command, which is what I did initially, and it was super slick.
Can you do it the opposite way? Can you pull contacts from Command and put it in your iPhone contacts?
You can download.
You can do that, it goes into like a spreadsheet or something.
Would it be helpful if I brought up like my screen, my Command on the screen up here, and just went through the process with you guys? Do you guys like to see that? Or does everyone feel comfortable enough already adding where you can just add them on your own for the next 5 minutes? You don't use Command, do you? Yeah. So what do you use for a CRM again?
I have a spreadsheet.
Spreadsheet, okay.
Yeah.
It's fine, you know, that's how all CRMs probably got started at one point, yeah. Totally fine, so. Anyone? Any preferences? All right, let's take the next 5 minutes and add a couple of contacts into Command then. You don't have Command yet, so tell you what, since you don't know and you haven't seen it, let me do it on my computer so I can show you, okay? Can you do it on that one or do you want to flip to my computer?
I think it might be easier if you do it back here.
Okay. Happy to do it. I do have a lead that should be in my CRM that's not. The referral, I just haven't got to yet for the vacation. Yep. All right. Okay, we'll lock him out. Or I could add myself to Rob, depending on it. Yeah, we'll lock him out. I don't know why though. Mine's automated, so I don't remember because I don't log anybody up. Is it typically just for there?
Yes.
First initial, last name.
I do, but one thing that I wish it had.
Let's see if I can get my computer.
Do you have the HDMI cord up there?
Or could I log on to the Loon quick? Or not the Loon, but the training room? Let me see if it works.
By some other people, I have it. Who just does? Is I forget to look.
Training room.
It's for- But it doesn't tell. me to- I
Can you give you a code? Asking me for an airplay code.
give details.
Try the cord real quick too. See if that works. If not, Jason, after class, we'll be in here for another meeting. I can show you real quick. It's really simple, so. I'd like to get this working though,
Yeah,
just because I'd like to show a couple of different, oh, there we go.
Yeah.
But, or that's that one still. Let me try again here.
Is it showing up as an option to airplane and it's asking?
It was before. Let me try it again. Yeah, it's asking for the airplane code again. Yeah. I just think this would be a better visual for you guys. Well,
Ryan, is this what your screen looks like?
yes. So maybe I had to change the mirroring.
I mean, he's.
PC on TV. To go into that. We'll let you go to that. Here, let me try and deploy it once. Yeah, we farted around with this a little bit right before class. But it did not. All right, well, go back into the presentation. We'll press on. All right. I think this is old. That's the other presentation. All right. There we go. All right, so once you have a lead in command, there's really four main things that you're going to focus on as you nurture that lead. So tags, which I think are very important. We're going to talk about some tags specifically that you would want to utilize, and then some other ones that maybe other people are utilizing that you could add to your base. And we'll do that. Touches in terms of what that looks like. Tasks in terms of like setting reminders. When you have some of these drip plans, for instance, some of them will actually send you, depending on what the drip plan looks like, I'll get automated things sent to me that, hey, you were supposed to text this person today. And then a month later, hey, you need to call this person this time around. So depending on the drip plan, and where they're at in that cycle, it could vary. But then other tasks would be, you should send them an email or send them a birthday reminder, all of those things. So there's different smart plans for all of that. But then the smart plans actually what coordinates all of that marketing communication and activities. So we'll go through these one by one. So tags in your database basically allow you to segment and find people easily. So, when I first got into this business, like you talked about, you have people all over the country. I immediately wanted to kind of like separate those out so that, as I'm focusing on what's really in front of me and more, I guess, immediate opportunities here in Minnesota, that I could easily filter those. So I tagged all my people in Atlanta, right? And so forth and so on. So you can go through and create as many tags in Command as you would like. It's actually pretty easy to do. Again, I wish I could show. I don't know why they don't allow me to show it. I think they will actually show on a couple of the slides. But and then beyond that, some of the other tags that we'll talk about are going to be like events. Is another one that I'll have to do. So like I know we have this fall event coming up on October 10th. Well, I have like 3,000 people in my database. I'm not going to invite 3,000 people to this event. It would be ridiculous. But I do have kind of my hot list, if you will. So say I have, my top 30 prospects that I really want to get there and try and have a genuine conversation with. I can go through and create a tag for those 30 people for the year, so that anytime I want to invite them to that event, whether it's my holiday party or spring flower event or this fall event, boom, all they have to do is filter that out. And then I could actually send a mass email to all of them at one time. And again, it's just being really efficient with your time and being able to segment those people. So that's another example. Another example of a tag is open house. If I want to remember where I met them at, well, every time I have an open house, someone signs in, it'll automatically import them to my CRM. So I'll see that. But then in addition to that, I create a tag, open house, so that like, hey, I'm doing some lead genning for the day. I want to go through every Monday and look at all my open house leads and like, which ones did I talk to? Which ones haven't I followed up with? Which ones do I need to have a follow-up conversation with? And boom, I can easily segment those out through those tags. So if you're trying to create a farm, you're outdoor knocking, you have a neighborhood that you want to kind of nurture, right? You can create tags specifically for your farm. So like, hey, I live in the Brooklawns neighborhood of St. Louis Park. I want to add everybody that's in my neighborhood. And so I would create a tag that's Brooklawns or farm so that I can stay in constant communication. And if I'm inviting them to like, say, our spring flower event, which I did invite a ton of neighbors this year, it's an easy way to just gather those people. Resources. So again, very powerful tool. So these are some of the tags that there's going to be a bunch that are already built into the system, but VIP, past clients, referrals, leads, agent, vendors, do not call, etc. So some people might be like, well, why would I have an agent in my CRM? Anybody want to answer that? Take a shot at it? Yeah. Referrals possibly. Yeah. What if they're not an agent forever, but you have a good relationship with them? You might get some referrals. Or maybe you had a bad experience and you want to remember that, right? So there is multiple reasons on why you might want to. Or like if they're a Rockstar agent, we actually have a number of agents in our database that we will reach out to on a regular basis. So if we have an off market, you're able to market that one-on-one through a phone call, and you can ask them, hey, got a new listing in St. Paul. Do you have any St. Paul buyers needs right now? And they could say, yeah, tell me more about it. Or you just ask, do you have any buyers that are actively looking in St. Paul? And you say, yeah, well, I have a listing coming. Would you like more information about it? So it's a way of following within the guardrails set up by NAR, but also building a strong network outside the 160 agents we have in this office, or I don't know how many do we have between this and our other sister offices? Around 400 agents. I mean, that's great. And we want to bring that value to the table, but if I can build a network of other agents that I talk with and communicate with on a regular basis, it's just that much more impactful. Because we all know the 80-20 rule, that 20% of the, or 80% of the business is being done by 20% of the agents. So I want to be connected with as many of those top agents as possible and build relationships with them. So that's another thing that this can be used for. How about some other tags that might be used specific to our business? Anybody got some examples? 36 touch? Yeah, for sure.
With Allison,
What's that?
with Allison.
Allison, yes. And again, some of these touches, it might be like, hey, send out a postcard. But some of that's going to be automated too. Like if you sign up with the program with Allison, you kind of already set those postcards up. But maybe when those postcards are getting sent. And so maybe it's a follow-up text to the postcard, right? As a touch. So there's just a lot of ways that you can use this program to be organized and just really set yourself apart from competition, or just be a good value and communicator in general. So does everyone know how to add tags? Yes. And again, Jason, sorry, we can coach you on all of this. This is very easy to do. So like I said, if you want some one-on-one time to go through adding context and uploading your entire database once you're live and good, we can do that for you, or Rob can do that for you as well. Rob does that, right? Yes. All right. These are just some of the activities that they're asking that you guys can do. So if you wanted to, if you haven't gone and done this, you can take a couple minutes and go into your command and add one that says do not call. So that way, if you get, someone that you've reached out to that's in your database, they really don't want to talk to you. Maybe it's an open house lead or something like that, and not a friend, that you can at least tag them with that so you know not to call them again. I know in my world, I just actually have categorizing and I just put them in the trash so then I don't talk to them again. So that's another option. You don't have a tag for sphere, just letting them know that you're part of your normal sphere of influence. You could add that tag, and then just jot down some notes on other tags that you think you might want to add once you start building out your database a little bit more, organizing it. But I think getting that organized, I know it's a lot of work up front, but again, on the back end, it's just going to make your life a lot easier and a lot more efficient follow-up. So touches, or any interactions or communications, as far as that goes. So sending emails, making compliant phone calls, etc. So as you make those calls or send those messages out, you want to track that and track those touches, and then basically organize what that next touch will be, right? So when you go into command, you have the opportunity to basically set those calendar reminders, if you will, but then there's actually a place in there for notes, so that you can keep copious notes in terms of what that conversation would look like. So, hey, I reached out to Johnny on July 6th, and we had this conversation, and here's where we're at, and this is what we talked about in terms of me potentially following up with them. And then you set a reminder to follow up down the road, so it'll not pop up on your calendar, and then you follow up with them on that day, and you could follow up and reference your notes basically to have that follow-up conversation, which again just makes you a lot more organized and brings value to that next conversation. Yes.
So I've got quite a bit of experience with databases. I created one when I was doing some personnel management.
Yep.
I was managing the trying to take up some time here.
No.
But people are using spreadsheets, and I wanted to kind of highlight that you probably don't want to use a spreadsheet. But you do want to use a database, an actual database, and you want to have as many tags as possible, and you want to collect as much data as possible, so you can sort by those tags. So like if you collect, like if you're talking to somebody and you know that they're gonna sell in you get a time frame of 2 years, then you can sort by these 2 years, and you can have a countdown. So like you get a reminder that this person is going to be looking close to that 2-year mark. You can sort by when they're going to be looking at houses and you can sort by that particular information tag. So like any little tiny, type of category you can think of will be useful, and you can sort by that and farm your database that way.
Yeah. And beyond that, once you have all those things tagged, I mean, you gather those and like, hey, I'm going to create a smart plan that's based around X for anybody that's tagged with X. So like, hey, if they're an open house lead, this is what that smart plan should look like for any of those people that I met at an open house, right? Depending on where they're at in that cycle. So
use a spreadsheet and you sort it the wrong way, you can mess up your spreadsheet and it gets tangled up and you won't be able to get it back to normal, so be careful with spreadsheets.
Yeah, there's a lot of great tools out there. I mean, at the end of the day, you just got to do what makes sense for your business. But again, if you are a Keller agent, to have this at your disposal, I mean, this is one of the reasons you pay your dues, is to have this tool, and it's very powerful. It's getting better every day. It really is. I mean, it's leaps and bounds versus when we started. And then touches need to be needed and relevant as well. So I think that's the other part about all of it, is just, really try and stay relevant to what might be pertinent to that particular client. So if they're 7 years out, well, obviously I'm probably not going to be talking about taking pictures in the fall for listing next year, right? Because that's not relevant. But like, hey, what's going on with your house? Gosh, we've been seeing I've been hearing all sorts of people talking about how their insurance rates are it's outlandishly crazy. Have you shopped your rates at all? Would you like a referral? We have a great referral partner that's actually a insurance broker, and she can shop it amongst many, many different insurance companies to make sure that you're getting the coverage and getting the price. Something like that, can bring value once again. So again, these crazy statistics: 80% of sellers contacted only one agent before finding the agent they wanted to work. That's insane. And then if we think about the buyers, 43% have worked with an agent that was referred to them by a friend, neighbor, or relative. 74% contacted only one agent before finding their agent. And 66% of sellers worked with an agent that was referred to them by a friend, neighbor. So, this is the kind of business I think that most of us would prefer to have. And I think, going through the gymnastics of this process, which is can be kind of grueling, to go work through your database like this. But that's what this could lead towards, is to be one of those agents that's getting those referrals and being top of mind, that, they're not shopping you amongst necessarily a bunch of agents. So I think really cool statistics. So building relationships one step at a time. The goal is to really build relationships now, so that when people are thinking about you, kind of like to Erica's point, that, it's not going to be one of those oh shit moments where hey, yeah, you are top of mind, and you're not the secret agent. So you are getting at least the opportunity to interview for that position. So that's really what these touches are doing. So this is the staircase that we talk about in terms of progressing as an agent. So again, I come from a pretty heavy sales background. So at first I was very salesy, right? Because I didn't have the knowledge really to be a trusted advisor. So it took me time to kind of work my way up this ladder. Although I am a nice person. So that was easy for me. But knowledge, that comes with time too. And that's another thing, I think, when you think about different brokerages in terms of why I'm at Keller. I mean, the tools that they give us here in terms of learning and accelerating that learning are second to none. I mean, you talk to so many agents that maybe aren't with Keller anymore, and they're like, hey, where did you start? Well, like my neighbor, Rich Webb, he started with Keller, and he's like, yeah, it was great, especially for new agents, because they train the heck out of you, and they give you so much good foundational stuff to work from. Well, I want to continue to learn every day, because you've been in how many years? 30 some years. I mean, we're always learning. This business is always evolving. And I think that's what I love about Keller, is they're always focused on that learning and that growth, because there's so many opportunities through the activities we do weekly at this brokerage, especially to gain that knowledge. And that's really what's going to, make you eventually the expert, but then helpful consultant, and then a fiduciary and ethical advisor as well. We had that nice roundtable discussion a couple weeks ago at our Wednesday meeting and just talking about the differences and the ethics behind kind of what we do and how we can be better agents. And I just loved the whole room's interaction with that. The feedback that we had was just really good. So this is the staircase, and I mean, ultimately where we want to land is to be that trusted advisor, because, you know, this is for most people one of the biggest life transactions that they'll ever have. I mean, for a lot of people, this is a big part of their retirement portfolio. So again, to be seen as a trusted advisor or a fiduciary, because that's what we signed up to do. That's how the optics that we want potential clients to be looking at us as. So how do we communicate? You know, emails are great, but look where they fall in the funnel of importance in terms of how your clients are going to view you. Emails really do get kind of lost in the shuffle. I mean, it's pretty easy to automate those and be very impersonal, if you will. So I always try and work my way up to, at least as I communicate, try and start here as much as possible. Now, sometimes this might be good as a filler and just staying in touch in general, but, you know, text messaging, voice to voice, and then most importantly, face to face, where you can actually see that inflection and the actual recognition. And, you know, I think it just shows people that you're truly trying to take time to have that cup of coffee or to have that lunch meeting, and to kind of really show them that you're vested in them as a human being and what their interests are, and kind of what their goals are for just life in general, but also obviously real estate. That's very impactful. So there's no replacement for that. So that's really kind of the connection that you want to build and kind of how they rank. So again, the tasks are specific action items that need to be completed in the real estate process. So as you're setting up these tasks, I would try and obviously prioritize face-to-face as much as possible and kind of continue to work down that funnel, if you will, and use to ensure timely, compliant communication with leads in terms of the TCPA compliance. Did you guys cover that? They talked a lot about that in my video that they had been training. Did you guys go into that much last week? Okay, so I don't need to hit on that too much more. Systematize follow-up by reminding you what to do and when to do it. Improve conversations, segment your efforts, and reduce your mental load. I think that's the biggest thing. Again, we only have so much time in a given day, so the more efficient we can be with that, the better off we're going to be. So the Miller's Law. I don't know if they even go into this. I don't even remember what this is, guys. I apologize. You have them? Oh. So basically, states that the average person can only hold 7 plus or minus 2 items in their memory at a given time. So if you think about that, that's not a lot of capacity in terms of on a day in, day out basis. And so that's kind of what they want you to remember with this, is just like, realistically, you know, that's where this database is really in command is going to come into help you out. Add a task in command. So this is another activity they'd like us to do. So if everyone would take like 2 minutes and go in and command, if you have it, and go to a client that you don't have already built out as far as this goes. And if you have their birthday, say through Facebook or whatever means that you might, you can actually add that in command. I would really like to show this. We don't have the opportunity to bring it up. And we're going to take a 10-minute break too. It's been almost an hour. So 11:04. You're welcome. Yeah.
Nico, you're number 250. That's huge. That's a huge milestone, and you're the 250th person.
I know, so can we get a pickleball or something?
Special?
Or a piano?
I'll have to get you a t-shirt.
Not that one though, because I already have it.
No, not this one. I actually have a branded t-shirt with my logo on it.
Me too.
So when did you move in?
And see, I have to order more. But I give them out as birthday presents.
My core group, I have a core group of people that do birthdays and all that. So I.
Yay, we'll have to schedule time.
Yeah. 87 also.
Okay.
My folks, my family's there probably more.
Yeah.
Until I
Okay.
no more than that.
Cool. Yeah. I graduated. At my husband's school. Yeah. Yeah. But the little.
So make a week another. I moved like 8 cities. 7.
So Brian, does this look familiar to you?
That's fine.
These are my contacts in man.
Yeah.
Does that look familiar?
Yeah.
If I want to do a search for birthdays, how would I do such a thing?
He was there for a while. Yeah. It would be a good spot.
So you wanna look at people that you have birthdays for, or
Yeah, I
you
don't
want
think
to add a birthday?
I've not been putting birthdays in, but maybe I got a few.
That would be tough, yeah. Yeah, my
Let's
husband.
just go to this contact, Aaron.
New York to LA.
I've also lived in LA.
Almost a year.
I had my favorite city. Nice living.
I know.
I lived down Pasadena.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so nice.
It's pretty
It's
there.
utterly unaffordable. South Florida's not affordable, not cheap there. It's okay here. I just moved from Dallas about 6 years back.
That's like you tell my daughter's in Diego.
Oh, it's so nice.
So much cheaper in Minnesota.
Right.
The weather in LA is better. And depending if you like food. And
If you knew his birthday, you could go in here.
Yeah, okay.
But if
But,
you're about to
but
get mission
we're talking here about searching our database for birthdays, right?
Pay for the mission.
No.
Oh, we're not.
Now they're-
Okay, now we're just talking about adding birthdays.
Adding, I mean, like, if you knew his birthday, like, say you could go on Facebook and see when his birthday is, then you can go in here and add it.
Yeah.
So that way, when you set up a
That'd be
trip
good.
plan, your smart plan, if you will, then it'll automatically send him a personalized message for you on his birthday.
Okay, so that's what I have to do with birthdays, is set them up on a birthday smart plan.
Yes, and then like same with like the home anniversary day. So let's just say you have a buyer or a seller for that closes, and you want to send them a 6-month congratulations, and again in a year, and then every year after that subsequently, and that'd be one of your touches. Then you need to have that date in here in order for that system to be automated.
Gotcha,
Is
gotcha.
that helpful?
Yeah.
There's no
Okay, thank you.
Taiwanese, so there's no Taiwanese places out here. The last 2 Taiwanese places died with the beginning of the pandemic. They're gone.
My son's girlfriend's from South Korea. She's in mid school in LA.
It's hard to leave LA if you're cranes.
Yeah.
It's tough. We probably
Well, it's not close to home, but it's closer.
so you jump on the plane
Yeah.
just to get there in like
Yeah.
13.
Like, geez.
From here with connections, like a 22-hour trip. I don't know. I mean, like it's good for the kids.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's why we moved up here, for sure. Yeah.
Aren't you
It's a
afraid of
good
cold
family.
weather? I'm not. I'm not afraid of cold weather.
Well, like, what he said, you're inside in the summer down there, whereas you're outside in the summer here. You're inside in the winter here, and you're
I'd rather
outside
do
in the
breakfast here
winter
than
there.
summer and summer.
Yeah.
Florida summers have gotten even worse
Yeah, they're
since
hot.
when I was young. I mean, it's oppressively hot. I think this is hot. I can't stand this.
Wait till Monday.
I
What?
know.
More?
I know. It's
101 degrees.
Yeah,
But it's weird because I've been here for 6 years and this is the worst summer.
yeah,
At least it's not too humid yet.
Yeah.
yeah.
Jinx.
Give
No
it a
jinxing.
50
No
days.
jinxing.
Okay, they dropped it down today. It's only gonna be 98.
How's your cat? Yeah.
Oh, well, I made it there for a while.
I'm trying to get this to work still, because
Yeah, and usually
some of these activities will be so much easier to show them.
yeah.
And I'm just rather me just talking about it. It's kind of clumsy, to be honest.
I sent it out without Twitter. Oh, okay, perfect. It's up and working now, so whenever you do it, you can share it. I was like, what is going on? Brian, can I see those?
Yes.
Just do it up with coffee. Like how many tags are there?
Are you thinking of joining Keller? Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
And what was your name? Kathy. Kathy, I'm Christine.
If you unplug this too, maybe that's causing this.
Where are you at?
I have my notebook.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
When do you drop this?
Really, it's
bottle?
worth the drive. He comes in all the time.
Oh, I said, I said it dropped, but I couldn't.
Yes.
Thank you.
I live in Prior Lake, like south of Prior Lake in the boonies. Yeah. Yep, and I mean, you really only come out. If I look. I normally come in on Mondays. Mondays are like my get my shit together days. All the follow up from the weekend or like what's coming up for the rest of the week. I like Mondays.
But connected before.
I know, it's weird because it's not a new.
Oh, there we go.
So.
Yes, which is so.
I was thinking of doing Venus this week, but then that.
So I'll just show you.
I feel like for some reason the Apple TV isn't working.
I got 'em all
The computer is working.
Okay.
So
We can use this.
I was gonna say, I can make that screen.
Oh, that's
Then are you,
So
perfect, and then are you okay if that stays?
Yeah.
Perfect.
do the transfer thing.
Thank you.
And I've added people.
And I
you know,
usually do more in my garden.
So that'll be something I need to work on.
Children.
Right.
Yeah, my flowers look great. But everything, I didn't even do dahlias in my garden this year. That's Perfect. So now you're projecting on this one and you can run the slideshow
Awesome.
on that. Yeah, thank you for your patience.
My mouse. Oh,
There we go.
Okay. Perfect.
There's always a way with technology. You just gotta figure out what way it is happy with that day. Perfect. And Leah is in here too, and I'll let her know.
Okay.
And yeah, is there anything else that I help with? Perfect.
Thank you so much.
And then the baby, the other name was just
With
like
my niece and
running
Oh,
around and she was so fast.
Yeah, he's on here. Well, he's on here. He bought a place in,
Yeah, you probably.
my husband.
Oh, your husband.
or-
Really.
I used to be into baseball. Yeah. That's, yeah.
Are they by the yard?
I don't think so.
Okay.
No, they're not comfortable.
They ruined mine. Been really bad.
Yeah, they're not comfortable whatsoever. So, and now we had them restain
I
last
mean,
year.
that's.
It didn't last.
And a lot of
so
them
long.
are free range.
After that, but
But
before when we first bought them, they stayed
Seriously,
for a while.
I have
Okay.
friends in Maple Grove, in
So-
the suburbs, just hanging out in the yard and they found ticks on their
Okay.
body. Like literally.
So let's say I'm working
Just
my
Ribbon fenced yard.
Right.
do the database twice list, which
They're
there's letters that I connect based on. So this week, actually, it's A and W, that's the group.
Oh, I would hate that for your kids. Too. Lives is no joke.
So I'm
So
applying
they
the
have the
tag,
tag, but
Okay.
the
and
doctors
then
are like.
those 18 people pop up. So then I know for the week.
I'm going on it, like, they're like, no big deal, but.
Yeah.
So with those tags, the other thing I'm
Your
really
kid needs
like,
Lyme's treatment.
everyone
You
really
kind of, you don't want to
should
dig
be on
around.
my
Lyme's kid has major problems, like.
some I don't have their email addresses, but so another thing I need to focus on because, and I don't have, I've removed some people.
Like his old pediatrician.
Right. Well, like I was saying, some of the folks, I did that.
I thought that, is that your stills that you posted?
Well, not mine, but yeah.
And then also.
I love old
Are you? I want
No, it's
to do-
really.
You just fixed her really
Yeah.
old hair. I have like a diet.
So many
Dr. Butter.
Oh,
for
It
sure.
lasts forever. It's so much better quality and you can't repair it. So we just
I
did
wanna
crazy
send
work to a
this
dryer, but.
On my LinkedIn connections.
Otherwise,
right?
like what, 1,500 for a good dryer?
I don't know. I need a little bit.
The thing about plumbing stuff is those don't tip you. Oh.
So I'm like in chat GPT, like. They're like, well, you run your dishwasher like 2 times a day, so you should probably just spend the money and buy a wash.
Of course. Breakfasts are expensive, but you know what, a good classic, simple
Okay.
beer.
Cause I do have a hard stop at 4. I have my
Yeah.
social planning. meeting.
like
It's in the
Jennifer-
building.
Jennifer
Typically, when
Jennifer, I could not remember. Like, what is her name? Cause you didn't write it in the text.
in the city, out in the country, and you have well water.
I'll do that with the next one.
Okay.
Send out a reminder.
Have you ever used Lemmy Shine? Because when Robbinsdale used to have the hardest water, and I used to intermittently use Lemmy Shine. It's, you just add it to your dishwasher detergent or whatever during your cycle. They have a couple different
Well,
products.
and plus it'll
Your
be-
equipment's super clean.
Because then you could see.
Should know. Yeah. I think dishwashers are tricky.
What do we got now?
Sorry.
I think people are
Sorry,
commanded
sorry.
by
There's
enemy.
our event,
Just kidding.
but not
So it was.
upstairs. I want you to
Thank you for doing this.
Yeah.
So nice of you.
I looked on the calendar. Or about this. It's like
So I
every
went
day in the
and
building.
updated
Yeah. Marja. Marja. Oh my goodness. Marja.
Yeah, no problem. Come in when you're ready.
So there's like 2 different groups.
All right, guys, we got about 44 minutes left, so we're gonna keep going on.
To Allison, and I was like, that makes sense. I should probably do something like that.
I think this will be super helpful from a visual
It's nice
perspective.
that you
Actually got this-
and I received it too.
But it would
because
make
I have
sense to
myself in
maybe
there.
try to do it,
Starting.
Sorry.
not during, but maybe right before.
All right, you go.
Yeah, it's like 5 minutes.
All right, so I'm gonna back up for a second now that we actually have some good visuals. So I just brought myself up in command, so I'm gonna just walk through a couple things with y'all, just so that you are visually familiar with it. Again, we can definitely help you at any capacity with this. You know, Rob is expert in command. Again, I'm an expert in my CRM, but this is not very hard stuff either. So again, lead source is another thing. So I went into my name once I was entered in, and then I'm just going to the edit button. And then in addition, obviously, to the main stuff that you could have, you could talk about the source and where it came from. So essentially, if it was a sphere or if it's open house or farming or whatever the case may be, door knocking, any of those things you can add right there, which is great. But then, as we talked about before, adding birthdays, but also adding tags. So here's where you add your tags. So these are all tags that are already pre-created in the system. So there's a fair amount, but there's definitely not an all-encompassing list. So that's another thing that you can basically do custom. And then if you go down a little bit more, add custom field. So let's just say, like I said, I wanted to do fall event 2026 fall event invite. And I'm going to save that. And then I could add that tag to like myself in this instance. So that again, if I was going to send out a email invite or a text invite or reminder to that invite, I can just group those people that I have earmarked for that with that tag. And it just makes my life a lot easier and more efficient. So I'm not trying to like remember or have a spreadsheet that's separate from this that I'm trying to track it all with. Yes.
Maybe I missed this, but there is no Breakthrough 120 Smart Plan.
There's no what?
Breakthrough 120 Smart Plan.
Okay. I guess I don't know if there's a specific different name for it than that. We'll go through some of the smart plans though in just a little bit, but there's definitely a lot of good ones in there that other agents have created that you can utilize that are already pre-existing. And then you can actually take some of those and again, like I say, you always want to make it your own voice. And so you can go through and just basically copy and paste and create your own smart plans as you build that out. And again, just be a lot more efficient to what you want out of this as far as rather than just, it's just nice sometimes not to have to recreate the entire wheel.
It's in there.
It's in there. It's
Yeah, under library.
We'll get to that in a little bit too. I'll help you guys look for it, but I just wanted to show that since we're in my name, we can start messing with some stuff as well. Again, edit, we talked about adding a birthday. If you haven't done that yet, you can do that in here as well. Let's see, oops. Why it's not scrolling down for that. Oh, here we are. So birthday right there. And there's just a lot of home anniversary as well. Relationships, if they're married, you can actually link that to their couple as to the other person as well, which is nice. So that you can have everything kind of all tied together. The company they're with, the title, kind of just again, all nice reminders. So the more robust you want to build that out, you can. The other thing I talked about was tasks. So if we look at some of the tasks, there's no task for me right now, so I'm going to create one. We'll call this open house follow-up. And then in this instance, I want to actually remind myself to call this person. So I click call. I might write in a description of what that interaction was at the open house, anything that I had maybe taken down in my notes that, came from that conversation. And then I'll go down here. I'm going to basically give myself a date of when I want to get a reminder. So I want to be called I want to give them a call on the 10th. And then basically I will assign that to Brian Offerdahl. And that will actually automatically send me a reminder for that task. Actually, it just popped up on my watch. So, so that's how you can use tasks in terms of building that out. And then again, you can take that to the next level. One of the things I do is I actually have on my notes, I have a daily to-dos list where it's just basically stuff that I have for listings and stuff that I just need to do specifically for business that's in my queue. But then I'll also have like check your Boomtown task for the day and make sure like I might only have 2 or 3 items in there depending on how much I've had to keep up with it or what I have cycled for that week. But it's just another reminder to actually go in and do those specific task items. And that can be just, again, that's part of your lead gen, right? So if you have an hour earmarked every day for lead gen, well, that's when you're going to peel away and do those tasks and follow up with those specific clients. And once you get automated and you kind of get that clockwork going, it just becomes a daily, nicely habit. And we'll talk more about that at the very end if we get to it. So let's go into smart plans. So there are some smart plans, initially you can just add a smart plan. The only smart plan I actually have in my overall queue is because I don't use Command as much as the monthly neighborhood nurture. And that's more for people like that are in my sphere, so friends and family, where I might want to have them just getting the value of what's going on in their neighborhood, right? So like what sold this last month in your neighborhood, so they kind of just keep a pulse on it. So when you're calling, with purpose, you say, hey, I'm with Keller Williams now. One of the cool tools we actually have that's a little bit different than like your Zestimate is it just basically is called your neighborhood nurture, and it will literally give you an idea, or it'll give you a feed, a monthly, bi-monthly email that will talk about, what's sold in your neighborhoods, just so you have a pulse on what's hitting the market and what it actually sells for as they close. Would that be something that you'd like to, see, or that interests you? And most people are like, yeah, I'd love to see that. I'll take a couple emails a month. That's not a bad thing. And so that's just something you can automatically set them up on. But beyond that, if you go back to the actual contacts and smart plans here, so that's the plans that I have currently, but then you can go into library, and then they actually have some that are featured, and they've actually have them ranked in terms of how many people have actually been using them and like them. So you can go through and add this smart plan to your own personal repertoire, and then apply that to any clients where you think that would be helpful. So a monthly call plan, 6-month just looking plan. So if it's a colder lead, that would be a good one to set someone up on. Bi-weekly neighborhood nurture, which I just talked about. 12 direct emails for agents. If you're trying to recruit, that would be another one if you're wanting to get your downline filled up. So there's a couple here, but then you can actually go under search. And did you guys search Breakthrough 120 here?
Yeah.
There it is, Breakthrough 120. So, and if you just read this plan combines the quarterly call plan and bi-weekly neighborhood nurture plans for a more comprehensive starter smart plan for everyone in your database. So if you wanted to really, again, just go through this, you can look at what's actually in that. So if we wanted to go, let's say, add this smart plan to myself. And now, when I go back to my smart plans, those should be showing up in general. Back up here for a second. Pardon? Well, let me go back in here. There they are. So let's look at this once. So day one, step one, making a call. And then basically you could add as many days to this as you want. And you could go through ultimately once you have this downloaded, and you can customize this to exactly, again, your voice as well in terms of the different touches that you want. So again, the nice thing about this is, is just that customized ability, if you will. And so the more time you take and initially build this out, it's kind of like what you said in the beginning, your database is what you're focusing on right now. When once you have that piece kind of solved for, to go through then and then build this out, it's kind of a one and done type of deal. And what I would say with this, and we'll talk a little bit more about this towards the very end, but like utilizing AI too, to maybe come up with some of the messaging that you want. And, you could actually download the entire smart plan, plug it into AI. If you've been using ChatGPT, they already kind of know your voice, and it can apply, you prompt it, say, please apply my voice to this smart plan. And then you can go through and modify it a little bit after that. So again, just a lot of ways to do that and be even more efficient rather than taking an entire day doing that. That could probably be done in a couple of hours or less for that matter. And you can build up those plans. So again, just a lot of great things that are at your fingertips that you can use to build your business. All right. So let me make sure here. So has everybody added the Breakthrough 120 Smart Plan to their command? You don't have your computer with everyone that has their computer. Have they done that? If not, I would recommend that you do that. Or if you don't have it, now at least you know how to do it. Test drive that a bit. Make compliant calls to the set up the neighborhood nurture. So basically, this is another activity where you can use the neighborhood nurture dialogue that's in there. I mean, there's actually prompts in terms of the verbiage that you can use to make a call. Did you guys make calls during the first session? Rob, have you made any calls?
No.
Okay. Do you guys feel like making any calls today? That is one of the things that they said, to do, is where we could actually call someone in our sphere and go through one of those. But again, not something that we have to do today. You can definitely do that with AI just to get more comfortable as far as that goes. But again, it's basically the goal of that would be to call someone in your sphere that's not currently set up on either Breakthrough 120 or the neighborhood nurture, and just have the conversation that, hey, this is Brian Offerdahl. I know we haven't talked in a while. Just want to call and check in. Oh, by the way, I'm with Keller Williams. One of the cool tools we have. I know you've owned your home for 10 years. A lot of people want to keep a pulse on what's going on in their neighborhood. We have this neighborhood nurture and just kind of talk through the prompts as far as that goes. So, holiday smart plans is another one that you can do. And this talks about basically taking 2 holidays out of like this general list and ultimately setting up touches for those holidays as well. So a couple of them are a little bit goofy. I don't know if you want to, unless you know that they specifically love pizza or Groundhog's Day or something like that. But I mean, I think it's kind of neat though, like the random acts of kindness, and to like have something like that where you basically will have an automated message or a reminder as well. And then you send out a text to say, hey, this is something that I is near and dear to my heart. I always think it's great to have a pay it forward mentality as we look at our lives. And today is a random act of kindness day. I didn't know if you were aware of that. And you can have something that on your social media and then follow up with a text or an email as well, which is kind of cool. So, let's see what else we got here. So let me show you in Command how to do that. Let's see. All right. Oh, excuse me. I'm mistaken. This is a holiday task. So it's, you can add this to a smart plan, of course, as part of one of your prompts as far as that goes. But basically what they're saying is to go in and to do a task with this. So we'll go into me again. And then basically what they're saying is a task. I'm going to create a new task. And then again, I just picked, if I go back one, let's just say I pick New Year's Day. So then I can basically just say, I'm going to send them a text to wish them a Happy New Year, put some notes in there, again, set the date and create it. So pretty simple. And then that'll automatically show up in my calendar as far as a queue to follow up with them. So the habit builder aspect of this, I'm this one now. Again, is time blocking. So again, I don't know what you guys all use for calendars. My wife has got me inundated with Google Calendar, and it's really, for our family, it's been a lifesaver as far as that goes in organizing the different activities we have going on in our life. But if you don't have a calendar that you're using on a regular basis, I highly recommend that you get familiar with one. In time blocking, I think it's so easy for us to get distracted by like, hey, I need to go pick up this lockbox, or oh, I just got this call from this lead, I need to do this. But you're trying to set an appointment with that client, prospective client, and if you don't have that time blocked for your lead gen, it's so easy to steal that time and then put this to the side. And I will say that, on a regular basis, we have a lot of ebbs and flows in this business, and we'll get very, very busy at times and be very slow at times. Well, one of the reasons we get very slow is because we get busy with the business that we have, and then we take our foot off the gas on the lead gen, because that's the easiest thing to push away at the time, because again, it's kind of can not be fun, right? And so to actually block for that, I think is key. And so ultimately, we talked earlier about time of day, what would be the best time of day to do that? I think that can vary. And I think it's nice to actually mix it up. So maybe on every Tuesday, you call from 11 to noon, but on Thursdays, you do from 2 to 3. And then you mix up those people when you're putting them back in the cycle, where maybe you called that person last time on a morning, but then this next time you're calling them in the afternoon. Or maybe you just had a conversation with them and you have it in your notes in your CRM that it's best to call them during the evenings, right? So, you can cater to them. One of the things that we do anytime I meet a new buyer is I will ask them if I can send them a link to our new buyer form. And in our new buyer form, it has all of these things to build out your CRM. It has the birth date, it has their current address, it has how long they've been there, they have their pets' names, their kids' names, all of those things. And depending on how much of it they're willing to fill out, I can be pretty robust in terms of this. But it also says preferred contact method. Do you prefer text or that? And it has the prompt of what they prefer there. What time of day can I call or text you? It has that as well. So it really allows you to build this out to the nth degree. And then just in general, like what areas are you looking to buy in? And what are some of the key parameters? Well, tell you what, let me just set you up with a quick search. I can set it where it only sends you one email a week. So you're just kind of keeping a pulse on what's coming on and off the market. And again, I talk to that in terms of bringing value to that client, right? Where like, I want to make sure that you are getting what you need in terms of tools and resources, and just to come to them with something that's so organized and just something that's, basically going to be helpful, whether they're a year out or 3 years out from buying. Again, these are things that I think they would benefit from, and they're going to find valuable. And so that's why we built some of these tools out. So, but then again, it helps with this piece as well. And I can show you that at the end here, because we got about another 25 minutes here. So, so closing and review, really learn how to bring value to those in our database by being sure that we communicate useful and relative information. We learn how to automate and follow up with people in our CRM through tags, tasks, and smart plans. It's really the main thing. So a couple of additional things though I do want to show you that are tools, and I will share these tools with you. Again, I don't think it's the end all be all, but it's just stuff that we've found helpful for our team. So one of the additional tools I'll show you is our CRM, which is Boomtown, since I've referenced it a few times. So this is what I look at every day. And so in my world, similar to Command, again, I have all the contacts here. Looks like I have 3,245 leads in my database. That shows up right up here in the corner. You can see I have them categorized in a number of different ways, but if I look at, like, let's just look at this one. She was on 4 hours ago. She's been on my site 12 times. She's viewed 17 properties and never favorited any, right? But if I click in a little bit further, I have her in qualified because I've never actually been in contact with her yet. She hasn't returned my call. I haven't followed up like I probably should have, because I've only tried to call her one time, but yet she's continuing to see our site. But what I have done is we automatically set her up with an e-alert, which is basically setting her up on a search for our website that's tied to the MLS that is relevant to properties that she was already searching. So you can see that she's opening all of my e-alerts. So my next step I'm going to do is either give her a call or a text and say, hey, Melissa, I've noticed you've been continuing to check out our homes on our website. Just wanted to check in and see if there's anything I should change to make your search more relevant, or how have I been doing with the listings I've been sending to you? Are you looking to find something yet this year? Just as another touch to try and continue to foster that relationship. And if you get in front of them enough times, and eventually what I'll do, or if she responds based on the conversation, I can actually switch it from qualified to hot if she's ready to buy in the next 6 months, or nurture if it's going to be maybe 6 months to a year. So I can have these different categories as well, but then I have all my places for my notes that I will, once I connect with her. If I text her and all of a sudden it's a blue bubble and she responds, I will actually put that in the notes as well. But then down here too, just like Command, I have a smart drip plan that I could set her up on for emails and text follow-up. It's automated as well. I haven't done that yet, but it's probably something I'll do pretty soon. So, so this is, again, just a nice tool that I use. It's very similar to Command, but just,
So how did you get this person?
When we pay for Boomtown, well, this particular person was a Boomtown paid ad. So it's like a Google ad where they literally clicked on a property, and in order to see it, they could see like for the first 2 pictures, and if they want to see anything more, they have to enter information, and then we get that as a lead.
Was that to be your listing?
No,
Any listing?
any of this. Now, we can do one specific to our listing. So if we want to promote a listing, we can put those out there as well. But yeah, so it's basically, it's a really high up in the funnel lead. Usually a lot of these are pretty cold and standoffish. But a lot of these leads are to Sphere, because again, I can tag everything in here, so I can pull up just my Sphere. The beginning of this year, I put in a top 50 for 2026 tags, so that I can combine all those people, the people that I really wanted to try and convert this year that I thought were hot based off of previous conversations and where they're at in the buy cycle, so that they kind of stay maybe more top of mind awareness. Because you can see out of 3,245, I don't have time to sort through that every day and go through. And I mean, obviously I know these people that are on this first page here. I mean, these are the people that have looked in the last couple of days, last 2 weeks up through there. So, they're pretty relevant people in terms of that. But again, it just is a way to keep track of all of it. And then in addition, we use another open house tool called Spacio. So anytime someone comes to my open house, I'll ask them if they would like to register. And if they do, on my Spacio, once the open house is over, it'll automatically import all their information into this so that I don't have to do it. So again, just another level of automation is just kind of keep things simpler. But beyond this, another tool I wanted to show you that we use is a business tracker. And so this is my business tracker. This was actually from 2024. So why we like to do this is, seems like after every closing or a couple closings, I'll be kind of having like an oh shit moment. Like all right, now what? You know, like I got this business to the finish line. Where's my next paycheck coming from? And, you know, you try and sort through, you know, Boomtown or even your opportunities on command. And it can kind of be a little bit daunting because you might have 500 people in your database and you're just like, gosh, you're trying to organize that with tags and stuff. Could be a little bit tough. So this is stuff that I have where I was like, this is immediate business, if you will. So if you look up here in this particular year, I closed 31 buyers and sellers. 14 of those were buyers. 17 of those were listings. You can kind of see here, it breaks it all down. So my closed and pending, my closed volume was 15,360,000. My GCI that year, just from this business, was 302. And then my average ticket for a close was around 500,000. Why I like to point that out is my average ticket this year, I think, is around 650 or 700. So we talk about having time, and, you know, like how can I get more business in the same amount of time? Well, it's either have a higher close conversion rate or raise your average ticket or both. So that's one of my big focuses this last year and a half is to raise my average ticket. How I've been doing that is by spending more of my time and being mindful and aware and trying to be in open houses at price points that are going to be conducive to that. That makes sense. So, but the nice thing about this as well, so this will give me their address and everything as well. So I have all that in one place. Gives me, you know, what the commission rate is and everything else. Gives me the lead source of the business. So then I could actually come over here. This particular year, a lot of that business actually was coming from Jennifer's sphere. And Jennifer, if you don't know, is our director of operations. She's a licensed agent, but she doesn't actually work on deals. So anything that she brings in, Nikolai and I will work those deals and bring them to the finish line. And then we pay her out a percentage, and then we obviously take a percentage for working the actual deal. So she brought in a couple big deals that year. There was like a couple $2 million deals, which is incredible. And so that obviously is why that is such a bigger thing. But you can also see Boomtown is a big part of my business. So I've really worked hard on that. 20% of that's from that. Another 10% was open houses that year. So it was a little skewed. And then I actually had 14% was from my referrals. And then I had another 10% for my sphere. So it allows me to take a snapshot and look at my business holistically and say, all right, here's where my business is coming from. What do I enjoy doing? And what would I want to, where should I focus my time? And what areas might I want to focus more time on if that's bringing me joy, number one, but also bringing me business. So if you guys like this tool, I can give you a blank copy of this ultimately. Now, the one thing I will say, the thing I like about it, so this is my closed and closed buyers and closed listings right here. But then when I come down here, then you actually have pending buyers and pending listings. And then you have signed buyers and signed listings. And then you can kind of see you have all these subcategories. So for instance, Chris and Kathleen Kasich are my neighbors. They are signed buyers. And so we did put an offer in last year, but we didn't end up getting it. So they decided to wait a year. But let's just say that they were going to go and get under contract tomorrow on a townhouse. So the first thing I would do once we got the offer submitted is I'm going to move it up to this category. And then let's just say we get the offer accepted, but we got to get an inspection. So then it's going to go to offer accepted contingent. And then from there, once we get past the inspection contingency, I'm going to go up to a pending buyer. And I just keep moving it up that funnel until it ends up being a closed transaction. And it's just a really helpful visual tool to know where my money's coming from and budget. And again, running it as a business rather than just like shooting from the hip as a, real estate agent trying to make a few bucks and sell a few houses. So, and then beyond that, as far as waiting for signature, these are the hottest leads that I've had from like open houses where I've actually probably met them and we've actually had sit down conversations. Maybe I showed them a house, or again, we met at an open house, or they were a referral, but they just haven't signed yet. But business, I think, is going to happen in the next year that I just need to stay within constant contact. I mean, it's like an extra reminder that I need to stay focused on these people. So literally daily, I look at this and say, all right, who's on this list that I should touch base with? And I'm like, before I call them though, first thing I'll do is I'll reference my note, because I have a note started on all these people on my notes, and then just see what the last conversation was and where they're at, and if it makes sense for me to make that call. So it's work, right? It's a lot of work, but again, it's not letting those opportunities slip through your fingers as well. And again, having just good perspective of what your business looks like. So you look at my goal, I missed my goal that year. So my goal for volume was, $20 million, and I didn't hit it. So, and I didn't hit my transaction goal either. So that, it just gives you an idea of kind of like what you're trying to achieve and what it's going to take to get you there. But I'm always just trying to add to this and build on this and, trying to get that 1% better every day.
Does Home Group buy this for everybody in the group?
So this is just a spreadsheet that Nikolai literally created this. And so it's just an Excel spreadsheet that we can share. I mean, we can just basically have a blank copy. So if you wanted a copy of this for your own business, it's not proprietary by any means. Now, the one thing I will say is sometimes when you do move things up the ladder, it screws with formulas. So if you are not proficient with Excel in terms of resetting some of those formulas, it's actually really easy to do. It's just grabbing the right field, but it does take some maintenance as you go through the year or through the week. So,
I thought what you're showing us is Boomtown.
this is no longer Boomtown. I moved away from that. This is Boomtown right here. Yeah.
What is
that? They have different tiers in terms of what the costs are and whether you're a team or not. I think our team plan with the leads and everything is like $1,500 a month. Yeah. So it comes at a cost. So that's why you said we tried to move away from it to possibly go to Command, but it just we were so comfortable with it. And when Command first came out, it didn't have all the functionality that it does now. Probably is a lot closer, but again, we're so inundated. Plus, this actually gives us our own personal website, and it gives us the visibility, and we can set up searches for our clients on this as well. I think Command has some of that as well, but again, it's just different. Yeah. So if you did like this, please let me know and follow up with me, and we can get you a blank version. So. I did reference two other things that I just want to point out. We got a couple minutes left here. I can share these ideas as well. This is just something that I use on a regular basis. So this is my new buyer form. As I mentioned it, something that you can do as a touch, especially if it's an open house follow-up or just any kind of lead follow-up or referral follow-up. To just set yourself apart and be professional. This is our new buyer form that they get. I'll email or text them a link, and it just goes through all the different things that we would want to know to set them up with a search and to build out a note on that particular client. And we do have one for a new listing as well, by the way.
And you just send them this Google link and then they go in and.
Yep. And then when they're done, here's all the responses. So I can just go through and my most recent response, whoops, sorry, too fast there. The most recent one was Ben Quinlivan. Sorry. No, it's not doing what it's supposed to do. But yeah. And you can customize this, by the way. Oh, here we are. So you can look at their responses. So this goes through these clients. These were actually some people I met at an open house. We just literally closed 2 weeks ago. Met them about a month and a half ago. They were relocating from Chicago, and I actually did an off-market deal with Karen Murray from our office. They bought an $870,000 house. Pretty crazy. So, but this just goes through and shows you all the different things that were important to them. So as I built out that initial search with them, this is what I used for the criteria. Top 10 list of individual buyers' criteria of what's most important to them as well. What's important to them in an agent as well. So that when I'm interviewing for that, you know, more officially, maybe this is done prior to us getting on the phone and going through all of that. I mean, again, this is an immediate thing after an open house that I'll follow up with. Or if I'm scheduling a call with them or say a Zoom meeting, I'll say, hey, before we jump on the call, just to be more respectful and efficient with your time, I want to send you a link to my new buyer form. This will give us kind of a head start, and it'll give me a better foundation to work from with our conversation so we can have a more meaningful conversation. Sound good? Great. Well, if they take the time to fill this out prior to our meeting or prior to our call, now they're showing me that they're serious and that they're vested. It also gives me a better understanding on where they're at, if they're pre-approved or not, if they actually are working with a lender, if they have a house to sell. All of those things are asked here. So again, it's giving me a good foundation to work from and kind of giving me a head start as an agent.
So who created this for you?
We just created it as a team. So it's something that you can, it's very easy to create in Google Sheets or
Can you share that too?
I mean, we can share you how to do it. Yeah. I mean, I can't share this specific form because it's linked to us and our, that's how Google kind of works as far as that goes. So it just has to be like a version of this, but yeah. And then the last thing I'll show you, I mentioned before, coming to the table with value. This is our vendor partner list. So we have multiple tabs across the bottom. So just like transaction services is one thing, but downsizing, inspections, cleaning and photos, repair and maintenance. So let's just go to the repair and maintenance ones because that's most of our referral partners. So if someone needs an appliance repair, these are our top people that we would recommend. Arborist, architect, bats. I mean, bathtub refinishing, blacktop driveway. So I mean, like all these people we've actually had experiences with and good experiences with, and then we've added them to our list. You can see how robust it is. So I always tell all my clients or prospective clients, if you need something home related, we got a guy for that. I mean, and please use this as a resource. Yeah. I mean, just see like how many there are. So anyway, it's just another nice thing. So if you haven't started building something like that out, I would highly recommend it. And again, we talk about referrals. I've actually been referred business by a number of these vendors because I've given them a lot of business. Like I've had my plumber has given business, my handyman's given me a couple of referrals in the last year. So it's very real, but it's again just making sure that you scratch that back to get yours scratched as well. But again, even more importantly than this, it's just about giving your clients good tools and being a trusted advisor, right? Again, I have a lot of people that I've not worked with that I've shared this with or shared resources with, especially like neighbors, that I know when it comes time, I'm at least going to be a consideration, right? So hopefully that is helpful as well. So I know we threw a lot at you today. Hopefully, again, you're getting something out of this course. I mean, it is a long course, but it's, I think, a lot of valuable stuff. And it's the blocking and tackling that I think is what it really is covering that will allow you to be a good agent and really building out a sustainable business and allowing you to grow in a way that you want to. So any other questions as long as I'm here? I'm here for another meeting in 6 minutes for the fall planning event, which, by the way, if none of you are, what's that?
12:15.
Yeah, I do 12:15. Oh, I probably gave myself a bathroom break. So, but if any of you are interested, I am helping with the ALC plan the fall planning event. It's on October 10th. It's going to be at a park here in Edina, And we're gonna do like pumpkins, there'll be like pictures, there's gonna be food trucks, there's gonna be a lot of things and activities where it's gonna be an opportunity for you to invite clients to it. It might be fully free, but there might be some things. We haven't built all of that up depending on sponsorship. But again, even if you only invite a handful of your most top prospects, it's still another touch, even if they don't show up, that is showing that, hey, you know, this is what we got going on. And we're not just some agent looking for a quick sale. We're inviting you to events because we value the relationship. And it's a good way to, you know, we do, like I said, our team, we do 2 other big events every year to stay in touch with our clients. We do our spring flower events. And actually we hosted it the last 2 years at my house, which is great. I absolutely love it. Again, I think I only probably had 30 people show up, but I invited well over 100. So those touches, and it's a good way to follow up too. And then we basically have pictures from the event in our social media. We can share that with our client base. But then we have our holiday event every year in December, that first Sunday in December, where we invite all of our past clients, current clients, and prospective, like new clients that are in the hopper to that as well. And it's just an amazing event. So, you know, thinking bigger as you get into this business and you're building out your business, those are types of things that you can do. And like, I know a lot of solo agents that aren't on a team that I can't afford to do that, or I can't do it on my own. I know a lot of solo agents that partner with other agents to do different events. But then, like I referenced in the beginning here, the office has events. So you have Red Day, you can invite clients to. You have Shed and Shred. You have this fall event. Glow, which I think this is the last year we're going to fully subsidize that. That's another event. So there's just a lot of opportunities out there. It's just what you want to make of them and how you want to focus on your business. And there's a lot of agents that don't do any of that, and they're still super successful. So you don't have to be everything to everybody. But again, at least it's opportunities for you to grow your business. So, yeah. All right. Well, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah. Sorry for some of the clumsiness with the technology and our way through. I'm glad we got it figured out, though. Guarantee your next session will be better.
Brian, how do we get that business card of this?
Yeah. Well, I just need to basically take and create you one, a blank one. Yeah.